All right. Hi there. I'm ready to greet people, even though no one's here yet. I always start making noise so that the recording captures my voice and begins the transcript. And here comes Christina. Hi, Christina. How are you? Now, let me make sure the sound is up. Can you at some point say something? Because I don't have the headphones today because they were not working well yesterday. So I want to make sure I can hear you when you do talk.
Sorry, yes, I'm trying to log on to two computers
Perfect.
and
That's
Acer.
all. Just hear you. I got you. So do what you need to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going
Are
over
you?
to chat and here I go. Good morning. Put it in the chat, but when people arrive, I need to re-put the good morning in there because the chat begins for people the moment they come. All right, here I've let you in on the next computer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, I'm getting a tiny bit cold. I'm gonna put a blanket on top of me for a bit. ¿Puedes pedir, mami, una bolsa de agua caliente para mí? No, no. Ah, ¿tenés una ahí? No, pero para vos. No, no la quiero. No. Sorry, I was just getting a hot water bottle on top of me because it's cold. Um, and that always feels really good when I'm starting the class. All right, where's everyone else?
I don't know.
It's funny, all my other classes, I open it up and everyone's just raring. I say go and I've got like 20 people pouring in. But this one, everyone's like, okay, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get here. And if I get here, I'll be here late. Like, okay. So weird. You never know why. One class is one way over another. All right. So if you're all set up and ready to go, maybe we can start. If you have any questions, I'll wait just a tad more before I begin for some other people to join us. But do you have anything good, bad going on that you want to ask me or talk about? Or is everything working? I'm looking at the Padlet and all the material is from last class. So there doesn't seem to be any particular questions. Great descriptions, though. I saw the descriptions that you've been writing in your Padlet are very thorough.
Thank you. That's how long are you going to have the Padlet available for us to access so that we can read our
Great question. It's going to be
notes?
accessible until the next Digital Design Techniques class starts. So here I'm going to check when that happens. Sometimes I get rid of them a little bit sooner, but for the most part, I wait when I need, because I can only have 5 Padlets in a row, and in the fall, I'm going to need 6. So at some point, I might need to get rid of one of the older
Oh,
ones.
I see. So you need the availability. Okay.
Yeah, because I can only have in my dashboard, I can only have 5 running. So right now, the summer, I only had 4. But when the fall starts, what happens is I usually turn this one into the new one, right? Into the new version. But I can do it. I can wait to do it until a few weeks before the class starts. And if I do that, then the class schedule, it's time for me to look for it anyway. When will my next class start? Let me see. And you can download though. I'm going to show you now how you can download the materials that you want from it. But first, let me check. Oh, I'm checking summer. No, I don't want summer.
And my other question is, I have two computers
Oh.
simultaneously on Zoom,
Yes.
but the computer that I actually visually see while I'm doing my work on the other one, it
Mhm.
always in green says you are viewing Diana's screen record. The other one doesn't. How do I switch it?
Well, which is your computer that is the newest one that has a part, the one where you're doing the Adobe work?
That's an HP. The other one is the school issued Acer.
So you're asking which one is recording? You're not
So,
ask me your question again.
okay, so
Hold on. Meanwhile, let me just see when digital design techniques starts. October 27th. So probably mid-September or October, beginning of October, I will switch the Padlet to the new Padlet. Okay. And the same thing with the class files, the class recordings. I've been trying to do them earlier because I can just do them all in a row, but you should be able to access the class recordings with this icon. And if not, what you can do is you can open this and download it yourself onto your computer, and then the links are going to be available forever. Like I don't get rid of the videos.
so here's the issue. On the top of Zoom, so top of the screen of us watching you, it has that green line.
Yeah.
If we say record or to start video. And the problem is that
Why
when
would you
teachers,
start a video?
you have the audio and you have video.
Yeah.
So the problem with that green line that's telling us you're recording the video is that we can't see
Can't
your
you say
screen.
okay on the right side? It just says you can say okay to that. Like, yeah, got it. I've been informed I'm recording, and you can just say agree.
Right, but
And then it disappears, from what I know.
no, mine stays. So the problem is that when you're looking at icons on top, we
Mhm.
don't necessarily know what you're um, pointing at because it's green. And that's not just with your class, it's with all classes. So
And
what
that
I
happens
realized,
on the school issued or on the other one?
both. So the way to get that green line off is to actually state no video recording. You know where it has a red line slash over video on
I
the
see a different one because I'm hosting the class, so I don't see that. So I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I have an idea. If you say no video recording, then when you share, not only do I not see you anymore, but because at the beginning I did see you, but when the recording comes through, when you share your screen, have you watched a recording? Does your screen get recorded or not?
I can only assume it's not recording. So basically, you have to state no record to get the green line off so that we can visually see the icons on top when you're pointing at icons
I wish
or
I could
any
see
team.
that. I should look at our class recording to see if when you share your screen, whether people see that, because that's a big part of the learning is that if you're sharing your screen, I'm explaining things, hopefully people are seeing your screen and not that it's blank.
Right, because we're looking at you.
Yeah, I don't know. Normally what I know is that when I'm a visitor to the class, to a class, it says, hey, the class is being recorded as a message, and then you can say okay to that, and then that little bar disappears and you keep moving forward. So I don't know which one you're talking about. I would have to attend a class started by someone else to see what you're talking about. And I do want to do that because then I'll know. I think I might be able to do it here from my sister's computer. Let me give it that a try. See if I can attend to join.
But that's happened to me on several classes, not
Hmm.
just yours, other classes as well.
Yeah, let me see if there's perchance. Yeah, I'm checking in. I'm going into my sister's computer And I'm going to join the class. And let's see.
If you, yeah, on the bottom left-hand quadrant where it says audio and
Yeah,
video.
I'm still connecting, so give me a second. I have no idea. Until I connect, I can't see it because it's nothing I can see. And if you share your screen, I won't be able to see it anyway. So hold on, 1095 095 715. I've just been given a code. And logging in. I log in as, oh no, because you know what? I end up logging in as myself. So it still doesn't give me the,
Yeah, I've spoken to the Shot Center about this. That's where I picked up the Acer computer.
yeah, they would,
And,
you'd have to call tech support.
and I've also
Shot
spoken
center
to,
people barely, no, they wouldn't have the slightest idea how to help you with that. Everyone has their
well,
expertise. Shot center does not know, like the front office, those people,
yes.
they have no way to know how to help you with your computers. That's not their expertise. Some of them know less about computers than you do. Some of them do, but they certainly, some of they are not tech support, you know what I mean? They have their own wonderful knowledges and expertises, and none of it is related to helping people with Zoom and their computers. Okay, now I'm connecting on the other computer, but I'm connecting as myself, so I still won't see. Let me connect with video. So here I am connecting. Let me say yes, admit. So now you'll see my sister joining. Oh, see, the mouse just froze again. This is what happened to me the other day. I couldn't use her computer because the mouse froze. And yep, it's frozen again. Okay, I guess I won't be able to do that because her computer just froze on me. So I'm just gonna restart it and I can't do it. I don't know why when I get onto the Zoom, she just freezes. So
I've had problems, a lot of issues with that as well.
the computer she gave me is her like old computer that I'm just using as a second monitor, which works, but when I use it to zoom in like this twice now, it worked for half the class and then it froze, and this time it just froze off the bat. Anyway, I'll just forget about that. Okay, so I don't know what to say. But you do know in the welcome email that I sent you at the beginning of the class when I said, welcome to Digital Sign Techniques, all of my welcome emails, at the bottom of that long email, there's how to get in touch with tech support. In the summer, they have
Yes.
shorter hours, so pay attention to that. In the fall and the spring, they have longer hours. Check in with them and see if there's anything that can be done, because they're the ones who would know and can help, but I definitely not the Shot Center front office people. And I see the Zoom as the maker of the class, so my boxes are different than yours, so I don't know what solution there could be to that box myself. But tech support does, because they deal with students who have Zoom issues all the time. So if there's anything that they done, they would know. Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry to be less than helpful. I just can't, figure out what solution there might be to that. Other than moving your box, you can grab it around any of the black part of it and just drag it out of the way of the tools, but then it might be in the way of something else. Yeah. So let's see what time. Wow, I guess we'll just get going. I don't know, Christina, maybe it's you and I today. I have never taught a class with one person ever. I don't know what's happening to this schedule this time. It isn't, let me just say that most of the times people who take digital sign techniques would be people who are also in the workforce or whatever. And so, middle of the morning, midweek is not necessarily the most convenient time. Usually I teach it more towards the evening or something like that, where it's easier to come. I guess all I can think of, because this is pretty bizarre that no one's here.
I can tell you that when I tried to log in the first time this morning at 10 to 9, there were issues with sending the code to completely log on to the SBCC website. Right now, you keep freezing. I've got two computers, and both of them have frozen
Wow.
at different times that I'm looking at you. So
Wow.
it could be people are trying to get on and they're
Okay.
just having
This
challenges.
is weird. This is extreme. I'm glad you're there. I'd be thinking something's wrong. I did check because I was here for, a minute before you showed up. And I was just, am I in the right class? Because some now and then I'll open the wrong Zoom. I'll open, the afternoon class or something. But no, this is bizarre. Maybe everyone's having an issue connecting. Maybe Zoom. Actually, let me check on SBCC. Usually if there's an issue, we might get a message. Let me see. I'm going to information. No, report complaint. No. Student services. No, there's usually some kind of a message if there's a school issue, but I'm not sure. Maybe they're not aware. It's IT status. All systems operational, it says right now. So according to Zoom status operational, let me click on that. Yeah, it does seem to say that it's okay. That it's unless people start reporting it, then they wouldn't have an issue. So I don't know. I'm just gonna, I don't know. So let's get started. I was gonna share the Padlet, and I'll still share it so that I can have the link. Copy link. Okay, so I'm going to put the Padlet link so you can head over here and join me, and then I'm going to share it. But there's not much to show in the sense that all the work is the work from last week. So there's nothing new that I can talk about. Everything is from 6 days ago, and all your posts and my posts, Rebecca's, and stuff like that. But yeah, Moni wasn't here last week, so she wouldn't have posted. And Amberly is coming to my Illustrator, but not to this one. She was having work issues. So, all right. There you go. Let's okay. So let me take a second to explain that this is the next to last, wow, it's a tongue twister, next to last class. Next week is our last class. I'm going to be back in the States for that class. And then we have a 1 week break. And then the the fall schedule begins. So this here is my fall classes and the Mac classes, which you're not a Mac person. And then I will teach this class, Create Compelling Content, which is a really good one for people who are in this whole, taking the design classes and things. It's like, what kind of content do you create? So this isn't the how do you move the mouse around on the app. Rather, it's actually looking at material that you're creating and finding what are you really trying to say with that, and what is the material you're going to need and how to get it. Lots and lots of, it's all free websites or free apps that I use. So basically, when you create content, be it for a video, a book, a brochure, a business card, we've been talking about that, whatever it is that you're making, just be able to go and really find out what the piece has to say. How do you engage the audience to find that? A lot of people who are designing things for their business, for example, or for their clients or for their boss, right? If you're in a job, you just get told, make a flyer, right? Well, so how should that be made as far as the content of the flyer? Now, this class now is how do you technically set it up? But this other class is more like what is the content that needs to be in that flyer, right? Anyway, so that's the create compelling content class. That's not until December. It's just 2 days, two Friday mornings, 9 to 1. And then I have handheld devices. I don't know if that's something that's interesting to you. And then digital sign techniques, I will teach it again. Each time I teach these classes, I teach them differently. So I approach it from different files, different perspectives. So some people, you begin to cement your concepts as you repeat the class, but you don't repeat it for the same information, but rather because I'm going to teach you something different. Illustrator and Photoshop. So those are the classes I'm teaching. So if you're interested in the information from any of that, the Photoshop one, I'm going to be teaching one online and one HyFlex where I get to be at home or at school. And then Illustrator and Interactive Piece are both online. Okay, and that looks like this one. I need to make this one hybrid. Okay, so
Can you please elaborate on the handheld? Is
yeah,
that for?
so I teach the Living the I Life is a class where I teach people how to use their Apple iPhone. Do you have an iPhone or an
Yes.
Android? You have an iPhone, okay. So this is how to use how to deal with all the photos that you take in your iPhone and how to handle them, how to transfer them, how to edit them, how to organize them, how to scour through them and find what you need, and how to edit videos and stuff like that. So that's this class.
So do you need a Macintosh computer?
No, if you have an iPhone, then a lot of it will apply to the iPhone. Just that in your case, instead of when you want to put them in your computer, you'll be putting them in maybe in Google Photos instead of in the Apple Photos, right? But the iPhone, like where do you put your photos that are in your phone? Where do they go right now? Do they keep them on your phone? Do you have them somewhere else? Do you upload them to
Eventually, eventually they'll get downloaded
to your
or to a
computer?
PC.
Okay. So that's one process and I'll describe that process. And then handheld devices is more general. And this one used to be taught by a teacher who just passed away. So I'm kind of recreating it to how I'm going to teach it, but it's basically a general idea of how to handle different computer devices. And this is an older description, so some of these might exist and some might not, but music players, ebooks, smartphones, iPods, iTouch, iPads, like Kindles, that kind of thing. So it's just a whole series of how to handle PC and Mac, okay?
Okay.
How to be able to use them and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so that's what that class is. And then you're in the digital design technique. Which other one are you taking of mine right now? Because you're
The Illustrator, Intro to Adobe
those.
Illustrator.
Okay. So then Photoshop, I'm teaching two versions, the online Friday mornings and then Monday, Wednesday afternoon evenings. And that one is HyFlex, so you can be either online or in person. I don't know if you're local or not, but some people prefer that, and some for online. So this one is Mondays and Wednesday afternoons, and this one is just online. So yeah, so those are the classes. I'm gonna put together an email. It's just that this weekend would be the right day to send it, but I'm also traveling back from Argentina, so it probably won't go out for a few days. But the reason I'm saying that is that registration is open and classes are starting basically in 2 weeks. So anyway, if you want to know more about any of them, let me know. But right now, let's go ahead and I'm just going to assume that it's just you and I today. So let's head over to InDesign.
I,
And
I did, I did want to tell you though that I thought I had that problem resolved with that green line by having both computers say no video, but that green line appeared again. And I've seen that happen before.
Can you share your screen if there's
There it
any
is.
chance I might be able to see some of it? And then you can point with your mouse to the areas where that line appears. I don't really know exactly what you're talking about.
Uh,
But if I sometimes there's one student, two students for whom I do see their Zoom, and I've tried countless times to change my settings for that, and mine never
I
shows. But go ahead and share your screen to see if perchance I can see some of your settings.
so what I did, unfortunately, before you said anything, is I did the stop video, so now it's gone away. I don't understand it. It appears and it goes away, and it appears and it goes away. And
So
I've been trying different versions.
one of your computers, I was just seeing an orange screen. Now I just see your name again. What changed? And the other one, I see a fireplace. But in one,
Oh,
I go from seeing your name to seeing orange, and then I see your name again, and then I see orange. So that now I'm seeing orange. What did you just do right there?
so I have a stop video on the Acer
So
to try to
this
get rid of the
orange
green.
says stop video, and I'm seeing orange. And then when you turn it on, I see your name. Is that what's happening? So now I went back to seeing your name.
And then back to, okay. So you clicked on, or somebody clicked on, I didn't click on it. Somebody clicked on the no video on the Acer.
I
And then,
don't.
yeah, it's as if Zoom is doing this because
Because
I
right
didn't touch
now,
the,
both of your videos seem possible to be activated. You don't have like a disconnected video nor a disconnected audio. You just have it muted, but both are connected. Because when people disconnect the video or the audio, then I see no icon. Right now, I'm seeing the possibility for you to just unmute and and uncover your video, and then I would technically see you, but then you'd have the reverb. That's how I'm seeing you appearing in the class right now. But that's all I can say. Other than that, I can't. So if you don't have a way to share, can you try to share your screen? Go down to the share button.
well, okay. So I'll show the,
See if it allows to
there's
share.
the AR or the HP. Let me here. So now everything's
Okay.
okay. So when I look, I'm sharing the HP.
Put your mouse towards the area that you do not see what's the tallest. Huh. I
Open
see
this
it.
up. So
So you have Zoom on top right now? I don't see Zoom. Is that what you have?
I'm trying to share the HP. I
Well, you're
think it's just
sharing something right now. I'm seeing one of your screens. There it is. I just saw something that said Zoom meeting and you saw a tiny me. There. I see a tiny me on the right side, and then on the left side it says screen sharing meeting, and there was like a whoops. Now it's a different app. Now it's in design and stuff. So what part is being hidden from you with that green line that you're talking about? Put your mouse on it.
I am, but it's not sharing with you.
Yeah, and it's because you're sharing your screen, so I'm not seeing it. But that line, that little line that you see right there, the when you see it really quickly, that line that has a whole bunch of a black line with a lot of tools, and then a green area that says you are viewing the Adam Sakio screen, that one, is that what's in the way?
Okay, when I look at the Acer computer, I'm sharing my HP, but when I look at the Acer on top, there's a green line. It says you are viewing Christina R screen. So I can't see all the icons on top of the ID. It
Yeah,
says,
so that bar that says that, if you
yeah,
click on the black area of it, you could drag it out of the way. Try that. Click
the
on the black area,
view.
click and then just click and drag, and you can move it out of the way temporarily
Ah,
so that you can then see whatever's under there. Did that work?
okay.
Did that work?
So yes, I'm going to see if it works on the other one.
Yeah, that black toolbar that appears always is movable from the black area of it. And
Thank
it's
you.
still there. You can't like get rid of it because those are your tools, but you can drag it out of the way, put it up and down when you're trying to reach something that's right underneath it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh my
Thank-
God. Well, I am, I had to get a um a blood test done this morning at 6 a.m. and I didn't go to bed until 3. So I'm like, I was working. I am tired and I can tell right now. So I apologize. It's not you. It's just me that I need to, catch up on my sleep. I'm trying to do everything I have left to do because I'm leaving in 2 days and I'm like, just running around. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. And yeah, when I share my screen, you got to see whether you can get that thing out of the way now. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. So can you see if you can still grab that bar and drag it out of the way to the right or to the left or wherever so that when and wherever you put it might be in the way, but then if that's what you need to see, then you can move it again. Does that work now to move it around?
Yes,
Okay.
it does. Thank you.
All right, well, there you go. Now at least that's not stuck in there, now you can and yeah, many times I'll go, wait a minute, I'm moving Zoom out of the way. That's the kind of thing I'm doing. Zoom gets in there and you have to just drag it around until you can see it. Okay. When you keep saying Acer, that's the one that the school gave you. Is it a Chromebook?
Yes.
Okay. So when you say Acer can be a whole computer as well, and that was what was confusing me. Then you said HP, and I went, oh, so when you say HP, you must be talking about the Google Chromebook when you talk about the Acer. Because Acer could also be a computer. The Chromebook is just the internet, and it does present differently, and that's why I was needing to visualize it. Okay. All right. So we're going to be doing some work with oh, I am so sorry. It was so unbecoming that I'm making these big yawns, but we're going to be working with InDesign and text. So let's head over to InDesign first. And we're going to go to New File. And this time, we're not going to open the basic default set that we've been opening. We're going to go to Print. And over here on the right side, and since it's just you and me, let me know if you're with me, if you're behind. I'm going to switch to inches. If you have any questions, this is a great time to ask. But this time, we're going to leave the facing pages on, which is not something we've done. And we're going to have this be 8 pages. So let's put a number 8 here on the 8 under the pages. So we're creating a booklet of some sort. Okay. Any questions yet?
No, I just waiting for my computer. There it went. It finally.
Oh, Lord. I'm gonna have to have some caffeine because this isn't gonna work too well. Okay. We're going to make the assumption that we're gonna be designing something that we do want to have color to the very edge. So do you remember what we call a publication that does have color printing to the very edge? Do you remember the name of that?
Um, I'll look at my notes.
It's a kind of a gory word.
Oh, bleed
Yeah.
to bleed to the edge, or
Bleed.
actually, it's over the edge.
Yep.
But
It's bleed. We can call it a full bleed, or we can call it a with bleed, but most of the times we'll just go, it's a full bleed. And even if you only have one side that goes to the right or to the left, you still have to print the whole publication as if it's bleed. Now, if it's a 1-page flyer, of course, it's the whole publication, but if it's an 8-page document and you do end up putting color on the edge of some part of that document, might as well enjoy it and put it on all of them because you're still paying for that to be a bleed. Does that make sense? You can't just have 8 pages and put, spread the color only on one and then they're still gonna print it all together on the same big sheets, and it's going to still have to be all bleed, even though you only put a little tiny bit of color out, okay? I have, I used to have, give me 1 second, Marlene, perdóname, tengo una pregunta. Acá había una revista negra que llegó hoy, una revista en plástico. No sé si la viste, vi que está, a lo mejor más se la llevó ya Lidia, pero... Y el diario. Lo pasás porque quiero hacer un ejemplo de impresión y tenía unas hojas. Perfecto, gracias. Tenía unas hojas. Okay, sorry. Christina, do you speak Spanish at all? No?
Very little.
Okay, just because I slipped into Spanish because I was asking for help. I don't want to be rude, and I was just asking for someone to bring me over a magazine. The magazine that I was showing last week as a sample, looks like my sister took it, and I had that out of, you know, how I had shown how things were were not printed with the right bleed. So anyway, I wanted to be able to show this new one, but so this here, let me stop my share and show it. This page right here, just a magazine setup, even though only one side uses full bleed, which is this one doesn't. See how this one stops there? Yet
Yes.
that's enough for the whole publication needs to have bleed. So if you're gonna use it and pay for the fact that some pages have bleed and some might not, you're not saving money, because I was saying the other day that you save money if you don't use bleed, but there's so many full page bleeds or half page bleeds or even a little bit of bleed that you're basically having to, the whole document ends up being printed as if it were a bleed document. Which is
So
why if
if-
you look at a newspaper, there's usually
Yeah.
no bleed anywhere, right? The whole thing
Correct.
doesn't have bleed. Now there, I mean, there's exceptions, maybe a sports section or something, they might print full bleed on a very special occasion. But other than that, your whole publication has to continue, right? So the document that we were just creating, when we say that we want it to be 8 pages, and if I say that I need it to have bleed on 1 page, then that basically means I need to put bleed everywhere. So down here, we're gonna leave it having the default 5-inch, 0.5-inch margin, which is a 1/2 inch. That's fine for the size is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, so 1/2 inch bleed is normal. And then the bleed is, sorry, margin is normal, not bleed. And then the bleed, we're just gonna click 1 time up, and that gives us that 0.125, which is an 1/8 of an inch all around. And that's great for just about any default kind of publication that we're gonna do. So do you have the settings same as mine? The only big difference is that we're doing 8 pages, 8 facing pages.
Yes, I'm just going to take some notes. Margins is-
And then I'm gonna go ahead and say create.
So in your example of that magazine you just showed me, the second page, you had a bleed on one side, and on the other side, there was no bleed, but there was a white trim.
That's a margin or something.
That's the margin. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure
So
the
this
trim is the entire document
the
size.
trim is what the machine comes and goes chunk and cuts and leaves. The trim size is what I hold in my hands. Everything that was left over, which would be the bleed, falls to the ground when the machine goes chunk. That is left over, and this is the trim size. So if this is what it's supposed to be, then that's good. Trim size tends to be correct as far as size, but sometimes it gets like the knife gets moved over by a little bit, a little 1/16 of an inch, the blade or the paper moves. And so when it cuts, that's where you need to have some extra little space here for freedom of making sure that you don't end up having suddenly a white line on the edge of your cover, for example. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, these publications, so now we just have an 8-page one, but these publications get designed in such a way that the cover. I'm trying to get it, any book that you have next to you, I'll grab a book next, but the cover is usually a different material. You know, magazines, how the cover is a harder page?
Yes.
Unless, for example, Time Magazine or The Week, you know, those are a little bit different. All their pages are just about as thick. So usually like Elle magazine or those kind of things. Here, this is an Elle magazine, only the Argentinian version of it. The cover, if you open it and spread it wide, this is its own document. See what I'm doing? Can you tell what I'm marking up? I'm sharing my,
Yeah.
screen. I should stop my share again to do this. So this cover,
Mhm.
back cover, and then inside of front cover and inside of back cover, right? So that would be a 4-page document. That would be a 4-page document versus the inside of the brochure. That would be, in this case, I don't know, 100 and, I don't know, say it's 100 page, 100 page document, right? But the way you design it, if you could tear this cover off, which I'm not going to, because I guess my sister still hasn't seen this magazine. Then this is the inside first page. And then when you open it, this is the spread, okay? So this is the inside cover. This is the spread. And then we have spread, 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 until at the very end, you have the last page of the spread, and then you have the actual cover. I'm gonna try and see if I can find something smaller.
Recording
than that.
progress.
Whoops.
Excuse me, Diana,
Did you freeze? Did I freeze? You're muted on both. So if you're talking to me, I can't hear you. Both of these are muted right now.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
So you froze on the computer that
Oh,
had audio. I'm sorry.
I only have, oh, I froze on your computer, but it was your computer, the one that crashed? Or that
You
you left?
froze on the HP that had the audio. So as you were explaining right now, the
Then
magazine,
you didn't hear me, is
I
what you're
couldn't hear you.
basically
I
saying.
could see you on the other one, but I couldn't hear you.
So here I'm like flipping pages and you have no idea what I'm explaining. Got it. That's great.
I,
Thank
I,
you. You know
I
what?
really think the other students are having difficulty logging onto Zoom.
Yeah, this is
I
so
really think
weird.
that's the issue.
You know what? Let me go check my email, see if anyone's saying something, because this is so bizarre. So, I've
Because,
never given a class to one person.
because literally Zoom was saying connecting issues.
Wow. Cloud recording. Illustrator Padlet. Yeah, I don't have any messages from anyone, which is weird. Because normally I would have a message from someone saying, I'm trying to connect. I don't know. This is really strange. All right, well, nothing I can do about it right now. If we stop and start again.
No, we're fine. I can hear you now. But would you mind just going over the
Yeah, let
last?
me do this. Give me a second. I'm gonna leave you alone for a
Sure.
second. Get a better, smaller, little brochure to do this with. Because that magazine is so big, I can't really, do it well. Ah, hold on. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm scouring the living room for a smaller sample, so give me one sec. I'm sure I'll find something. Here's a book. Here's a little. I always have, my mom has little things and flyers everywhere. funny that right when I need one, I can't come up with one, but here, I picked up a book that'll be easier, because the magazine is so big that it's very hard to show you. Okay. Let me head over in here for a second. There we go. I picked something up that might be make it a little bit easier. Here we go. I've got a couple of samples. God, there's always like flyers and brochures and ads, things, but I guess doing some cleaning or something, because there's nothing around. But okay, so this is good. Now I'm going to put the computer a bit further away from me so I have a bit more space to do the demo. Here we go. So here is a basic. Oh, that I probably shouldn't have brought, so I'm going to leave it there. Here's nothing is too small, but this is a bit smaller. So this is a very basically one of those letter word finders, scrambles, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. Let me make sure I don't have a blur on. No, I don't have the blur on. Okay. It's just that I do have some blur to see how my hair is going all like fuzzy, but as long as you can see this, that's fine. So this is a little booklet. It's a pretty fat one. It's like any booklet is gone, but you can really distinguish, it was harder on the Elle magazine, that this is the cover and this is the back cover, right?
Yes.
And then if you could imagine taking this off, since it's usually a different type of paper, this gets printed as one document, okay? Separate, you have to design it on a separate document. And then this would be the other document. So it's like two documents to create this book, okay? And if you look at how a brochure of, a little tiny instructions that come with something you buy or something, this is the cover. The moment, imagine this was just a 3 or 2 page little booklet, I open it up. Then you have a spread, right? And then you
Okay.
have the back cover. Does that make sense? So the front
Yes.
cover and the back cover are single. And then everything else gets designed as a spread. But even then, the front cover really does have its own inside front cover, which in a magazine usually has our ads and stuff, and the book it doesn't. And then the back cover, when you open it, has its own back cover, right? So the two back covers, if this weren't in the middle, that would be a spread. Does that make sense? Now,
Yes.
for you on in digital, in InDesign, what that looks like.
But I have a question. When you open that book up, it has a bind. So the bind where you have the two front and back covers, how does the graphic artist get that bind, that little narrow?
Yeah, you have to design it. You have to figure out if it's going to be these many pages, then the bind, and usually the printing company will say, well, you're using this type of paper, and say 100 pages of that type of paper is going to be 1.5 inches. So you design this document with that extra little bit in between that is part of the bind. Okay.
So that would that be one file, one document that has both the front and the back and the bind?
Yep.
Okay.
Then the inside, on the other hand, is the one that we're setting up here. So let me share my screen and let's go to InDesign. And we called it 8-page, but it could have been 100 page for what it's worth. Because let me show you how this looks. I'm in the InDesign, and I just want to make sure that we are in the essentials. And if things look very different from mine, you want us to reset essentials. I'm not sure what you're seeing, not seeing. But next to the properties panel, there's pages. I want you to open the pages, little
Okay.
guy. And then this is what our 8 pages look like. It's cover, spread, 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 back cover. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
But
So
where's the bind?
here, well, this is the inside, so it doesn't have a bind. If this were a book cover, then we'd have to see, like, this magazine has no bind. It's really thin, right? So
Okay.
Holmes Place, no, it's not called bind. I kind of started repeating your name bind, and then suddenly I can't come up with a word. Let's say it's a spine, but it has another name.
Bind.
But this
Yeah.
book on there and has a pretty thick one. So this one, say that this is an 8.5 by 11 document, which it isn't, but say this is an 8.5 by 11, and this is the back is 8.5 by 11. Well, this is going to be maybe a 1/2 inch. So then your entire spread of front and back cover is going to be 8.5 plus 8.5 plus 1/2 inch from that. Does that make sense? You just design that, and then you put the text on it sideways and whatnot. So we're going to work on that. And in this case, this book even has a jacket. So then really the document in this case is this whole thing. Does that make sense?
Wow.
And then on the inside, in this case, you can see that this is just, they didn't use it for anything. It's just blank, but it has this little texture. But yeah, by the time you're done, you have an 8.5 by 8.5 plus the spine plus the jacket. Have you ever taken out a book's jacket and you spread it out? You know, it's this really long thing. You have any books
Yes.
around that have a book's jacket? So yeah, it's a really long document. So then you design it separately than this. These are the interior pages. You wouldn't want to be, you know, you can't design, the cover, front cover is going to be that big if it's front, back, spine, and jacket, you know, it's like yay big. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So let me share my calculator. With you. There we go. My calculate InDesign and my calculator. So if I were really trying to calculate that, say that we said it was 8.5 by 11, so 8.5 times 2, right? Because it'll be 8.5 times 2 would be the 2 covers, right? Plus, say that we have a 1/2 inch spine. So now we're talking about 17.5. And then if this is a book jacket, like the jacket, if the cover is 8.5, then the jacket itself might be maybe 5 inches, and you have the front and the back book jacket, so plus 10, 5 inches for each jacket. So you're basically got a 27.5 inch document. Does that make sense? Rectangle.
Yes.
And then the height would still be 11. If the document's supposed to be, if the book's supposed to be 8.5 by 11, you've got 27.5 by 11. So in fact, if I were to try to create that document, I'm going to say File, New Document, Print, then inches. Then I would say, let's say 28, just to round it out, 28 by 11. Then when you create that, and then in this case, I'm not going to do facing pages. I'm going to show you just the general size, and you'll see why I'm not going to do facing pages. Then basically this is the book jacket. I don't even have front and backs, this, right? Which you then would have to divide, and here's where you would have your spine, and I'm just kind of guessing that this is about the middle right now, and you would do it all with numbers. So that would be the spine, yeah? Then this here would be the front and the back covers. And then, well, let's make it bigger. And then this and this would be that book flap, the jacket that pulls in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's how you would set it up. Except for this is, you know, one page, you would have to have another page for the front and the back, because those things usually have front and backs and stuff like that. But that's how you would divide it. And then here you'd go author, name, book, flap, back cover. Proportionally, this isn't correct, but gives you an idea. I mean, I didn't put
And
it.
then so this is the layout, but would you actually put the content into each of those sections, or would you tell the printer,
Oh, no, 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 you
Here-
design the whole thing. So we're gonna start doing that right now in the other one. But yeah, I would go in here and I would call this one, I don't know, what's this book called? This is the amazing book title. And that's part of what I'm about to teach you right now. So say that this is the book title. So then the book title would be there, you know, suddenly this is the great book title. And then I'll have another little box here that'll be, you know, the author's name. And maybe that one's going to be, you know, so I'm just giving you quick little examples. That one's going to be, I know, there, by, you know, by, they don't really say by anymore, just author's name. But then interestingly enough, I would have to create a text that says book title. And maybe that would be 36. And it would go sideways because that's going to be printed on the spine. See what I mean? So you literally just design it the way that it's going to be. So when you spread it out, and then here you put the authors and the flap, the information on the flap. So when you fold it up, that book title there is hanging out in the spine. They probably have the author's name there again. Does that make sense?
yes.
Do you have a book
Interesting.
with a jacket somewhere? Go and grab one. I don't know if my mom has one. I'll go find one, but if not, go grab one. To have one in your hands, because I always try to have people take apart like cereal boxes and things, but let me get a book. Okay, I managed to find one with a jacket. Are you there? Did you go find?
Yes.
I'm gonna stop my share so you can see me better. But here's a book, right? And if I take the jacket off, it's a very old book, but here's the jacket. Right? Are you
just watch my answers quickly.
Yeah. And
Okay, now I've got the book.
I explained the jacket after the book, but since it's just you and we're just talking, I'm going in the order of your questions, but usually I start with the inside and then I go to the jacket, but here we are talking about the book jacket. So tell me when you're back.
I'm back.
Oh, there we go. I don't see you, so it's hard to know. And if you can turn your video on, that would be better, because otherwise I'm talking to just nothing other than that. Because here's the book jacket that I just took off the book, right?
Mhm.
It's like that. But if you spread it open and InDesign, you're creating this long thing, right? And this is actually a weird spine because it's so fat that actually you can read it like that. Most spines you read sideways, you know what I mean? But yeah, you've designed the cover, right? That's it. Here's the front cover. Then here's the flap. So the front cover is actually on that side. Then you have the spine. Then at the beginning of the document, you have the back cover, and then you have the back flap. So you just literally design it that way. You just have to put everything, and this is a weird one in the sense that the whole cover is one big illustration. Most of the times in modern books, you have more like the front cover is something, then you have the spine, and then the back you just have text or something, you know what I mean? But when it's a pictorial one like this, then it is one big illustration, but at the end, it's just gonna be folded over, folded over, folded over. So, and there's usually on a book cover, there's nothing on the inside. On a book jacket, it's really a one-page document. It's just that it's spread open like that, and then you mark where the folds are, and then the machine comes and folds it up. Does that make sense?
It does, and I'm thinking because it's one big picture, right?
Mhm.
That's actually on three sides. Doesn't that allow for more more room for error? Excuse me, because it's just one picture versus if you had separate actual pictures, three different pictures.
Well, I mean, and this one doesn't have a book jacket, but this is a cover. More typical
Right.
where there's nothing there and then there's just text in the back. This is a more typical basic cover, right? Where it's just the front, the middle, and the back, and so there's just like one picture there. But occasionally, especially when there's book jackets, they'll make them really visual pictorial and they'll try to go and have fun. No, there's no, the only room for mistakes would be if the edges get cut wrong and then your spine, suddenly the title isn't centered anymore because it all got ooched over. I mean, if you ever fold a piece of paper, you know how hard it is to fold it exactly on the right, on the edge that you're trying to fold it on. And if you don't, then things kind of start scooching over. So really it's about the outer cuts, and it's as easy to go bad on an outer cut, something at this big or something that's this big. It's that same 1/8 of an inch margin. It doesn't have a bigger margin just because it's a bigger piece. So in fact, it doesn't matter if you have 3 pictures or 1 picture. It's how good are the outer cuts, the trim, how well do they trim them to the marks that you have? Because if they trim them correctly, then when you fold it and fold it and fold it, that spine is going to look exactly right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I just got a little box here that we were throwing away. Let me see if I can. So this is a box of tea, okay? And if you ever pay attention to the way boxes are made, like if this tea is, if I'm purchasing it, oh, it's upside down here. If this is a box of tea, right? This has
Mhm.
an actual hole in it. Because you can see the tea through it, but never mind. Then you can see it top to bottom, and you turn it around and you can read it and you can read it and you can read it well. And if you do like that, you read that. If you look at the bottom, there's something, okay. This is a 1-page document. And when you design it in InDesign, if you take this whole thing apart, it's glued on one side. Have you ever taken things apart for recycling or something? But the reason I want to show this to you. And so part of the homework that I give after this class usually is go take some things apart. But here we go. This is that document. And you might
Ah,
see that when you design it, some things look like they are straight, but then the text that shows up at the top, you're going to have to put it upside down, literally upside down, so that when it folds, it reads well. And then the stuff that's down here also appears as upside down. You know what I mean? You
so
can't
that's
figure out.
one file.
This is
That's
one file, just one flat file, and all you do is you mark all the folds and the trim lines and all the cut lines. And then they go in there and they just have a machine that goes chunk and stomps this thing out, and then it goes fold, 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 fold. It puts it together, and you better have put the text in the right direction so that when you buy it, people aren't reading things upside down or backwards. So this is called a mock-up, and for every product that you ever make, you need to create mock-ups to make sure, like, you need to open up a box and write things on it in the right way, and then fold it and set it all up, and then go, oh yeah, when I fold it, it's all working. And then you'll mark and say upside down, forward, and whatever. Go ahead and open something, open cereal boxes, open something over this weekend or even during break, or go find one if you have one right now and
Yeah.
open it. Then you'll be pretty, I mean, there's only just us, so we can spend a bit more time with this stuff.
But
And
yeah,
so then you start seeing how products are really created, and it's a one page InDesign document that you mark, just like I did on this one.
I think, yes.
I
I
just,
think your box was a very good example because it's to the extreme of all the different shapes, but
exactly.
it's one file.
It's one file, one page. It's not even many pages. It's one page. And you have to be aware of where to draw that purple line. And this is a full bleed. Why? Because some of the color goes over. Had it been all like this part, it would have not, all the text was inside the white. But as long as the color goes to the outer edge of the product at any point, this is a full bleed document. They had to create a box that was a bit bigger, and then they had to chop it off, and that little piece of purple fell down to the floor. Another little piece of purple paper fell down to the floor here. You know what I mean? They wanted to make sure that the color reached the edge. So you have to have cut a little piece where there was purple left on both sides, and that way there's no chance that there's a bit of white. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Okay, so yeah, now I after this class, a lot of people the next week always tell me, wow, I started taking apart all these things. Great. Pull apart your house, but yeah, go to the recycling bin and start tearing some stuff off, and then pay attention to it and go, oh, wow, I didn't notice that this would have to be printed upside down, and this would have to be printed completely sideways, and and you have to design it that way, right? You have to make that sideways title if it's going to print sideways, but in a book jacket, it's pretty much one flat thing, so it's not such a big deal. But when you have a box, then you begin to see the tops and bottoms. Let me see. Now I'm curious. If I say file new document, if I go to print, let me see if they have any products here. I think they don't have any products. They probably just have like magazines and brochures. They probably don't have boxes and no, nothing is a product. Everything is straight, so you don't get to see the ins and outs of things in their I'm just saying in their templates. Right? So that's nothing I can show you, but let me go for a second online. Is this sharing? Are you seeing my browser?
Yes, I'm seeing.
Okay, so let me go in here for a second to the browser. And hold on, see, now I need to move my Zoom stuff out of the way so I can operate this browser. Since it's just us talking, I'm going to close my chat. And I'm going to go template for, I don't know, cereal box. And let's see, mock-up. I mean, I don't know. I'll just open one or two and see. So here, when you see this is a mock-up, which is not the same as a template. Okay, so say that I want to make this, one of these boxes. Do they have a template? Here, and I'm gonna ask for an InDesign mock-up for one of these guys. So here they're beginning to take it apart, but I want one that has all the writing. Here, print templates. There we go. Let's say that I want. See, they don't really have any. I have so many, but they have them. I have them in my computer in Santa Barbara. These are all flat products, flat products, flat products. Product mock, not product mock-ups, not product templates. They don't have product templates. How interesting. How about here? I don't want mock-ups. I want, well, this might work a little bit better because they're showing a box. So say that I want one of these boxes, so that I want this box, for example, medicine box template. So are you gonna show me the layout? I don't, you know what, I'm trying to show you something without really. Yeah, there's nowhere, I'm gonna have to get templates from home. Okay. InDesign template for a cereal box. Let me see, it's my last search. InDesign templates, because those were mock-ups, which is different. How about that? Let me see. Is there a template for this? Oh my God. I guess it's not that easy to find pre-made templates for these things. You just need to make your own. Okay, I give up. None of this is what I'm looking for. So, yeah. No, these are all like flat stuff. Flat stuff is easy. I'm looking for boxes. Okay. InDesign, cereal box layout template. I already said last chance, but I keep imagining that one of these. Here we go.
Ah, there you go.
Cereal box template. Okay. So see how when you take it apart, this is basically what I was showing you, that
Mhm.
it's all cut out and whatever. Now this one doesn't have like the text that goes upside down or downside up, maybe this one. This is more like it. And let me just click on it really quickly, see if I can, it's hard to see. It's so tiny, it doesn't show. So this is everything here we go. Serial box backup, perfect, let me see. The reason I want this one, here, there we go, serial box backup. There we go. This is how you would have to set up your document with, it says, oh, it doesn't even show it here, but it doesn't show you that the text here would not have to be written like that. It would have to be written upside down. And here it would have to be written upside down, and this as well. Here, all they do is the side, but they're not showing you that the text would have to be written upside down. But anyway, what you do normally is you cut it out. You print this out on a piece of paper. You cut it, you fold it, you make it become a paper box, and then you write title, like you write the words title, spines, top box, and then you look, and when you look at it and see if it works, if you got it on the right direction, and when you open it up, you'll discover that this box top will be pointing literally heads up, and this one will be sides, and that'll be heads up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I actually tore up a cereal box, so I got it in my hands as you've gone over that
Okay, great.
design. So yeah, so the top of the
Top of the
cereal
box
box
go
is faces the front, but the back of it still on the top faces the front as well.
exactly. It's only one side print. You'll never have anything facing the bottom. And the inside is just cardboard. The other side is always nothing, right? In all of these boxes, it's only one side that you design. Everything, if it's top and bottom or whatever it is, it's always on one side. It's never on the inside.
I never thought about it till you just showed me this.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I did packaging design for quite a while. So fun. Oh, here's an actual, but this is wrong because the text is downside up, and usually the text is going to be upside down, not downside up. It depends on the product, but yeah. Okay, so there we go. Let me close these up.
So after you had the file and you designed it, do you ask for a sample, a mock-up from the printer? So you can
Yeah, it
visually
depends on how much money you're spending on it, but if you're gonna be designing a, like something like a cereal box up, they're gonna be spending, you know, millions and millions of them up and down, you definitely get mock-ups. Well, first of all, you create your own, right?
Right.
You talk to the printer says, well, these are, so say that there's a printer, go, well, these are the shapes that my machines can make, right? So this is a good example. They say, these are the ones I can make, and you look at that, you measure your product, you test it out, you create one out of just paper, and then you put your product inside, and it's like, okay, looks like for my product, we're gonna have to buy this one, or that one, or that one, right? In which case, they have the cardboard, the specifications, everything, and they, you know, they can make it. Now, there's a different way of designing where you create something fantastic and you take it to the printer and say, hey, can you create this, right? And then they look at their machines and they go, sure, I can cut it out in that position, in that direction. It all depends on if you're going one way or the other. But yeah, like the design of these here, they're not giving you the templates, they're just showing it to you like this. So in a way, it's easier because you just put your photo in here, your photo in there, your logo in there, and you just send it. And they never even, so here's the die line. So I'm going to download the die line in Illustrator. See if they just download it or they're going to make me sign in. Shoot, I don't want to sign in.
And what is a die line?
It's this that I've been showing you before. These image, the outline, these are the die lines.
Okay.
So a die line is this, but you know, we've been calling it a template. I would create this in InDesign, but the way it works, they'll have a cutter created that's like a stamp, so to say, only when it stamps the cardboard, it cuts this shape out. It cuts this exact shape out and drops that little bit of cardboard on the floor that's in between. So first you print it and then they cut it out. And if they cut it out correctly, all is good. If they just cut it a little bit off, then you're gonna need that bleed to save yourself from not having it. But this box, for example, looks like that when it's spread open. Kind of funny. See that?
Okay.
So this is a good example because the shape is so different. It's almost like a cereal box or a book jacket, just look the same. But for this kind of folding to happen, this is what you need to design, and sometimes they'll give it to you. And then sometimes you'll have to set it up and you'll just mark all these shapes, and you need to know that this is where you'll put, if that's the cover, then maybe the text has to go in that direction. Or if it's this side, it'll have to go in that direction. Maybe on the side, it has to go on upside down for the name to be shown. But always all of these are always printed on just one side only. The inside is all just blank. So you don't want, if it's food or whatever, it'll be the pizza box is blank on the inside and all the text is on the outside, right?
So once you need, in this example, the rectangular box, you would need two of those because the bottom, you're not going to print because that would be the inside. You would need to have your logo on the opposite side so that when you fold the box, it would be on the other side.
Yeah, so you would only print the top, one side only, so you don't need two, you need one. So cardboard comes through and this side gets printed with the logo, with all the stuff. And then when you fold it up, the outside only is what has color. So maybe it's a pink box and the inside is cardboard color and the outside is all pink. So then over here, you need to know which parts you're going to mark to be pink, because these little two tabs better be pink too, if they're going to fold in there. And these are those tabs.
Right.
Otherwise, they're going to look brown, right? So that's going to be pink. And so this is going to be pink, and that's going to be pink, and that's going to be pink. But the other side, like the flip side of this, is going to be the cardboard brown. So here's where you put your color. And sometimes you'll find that you need to put your titles, your boxes, your product names, and your logos in one direction or the other, depending on how you want to fold it. Is this going to be sold standing up? Is it going to be sold sideways? Is it going to be like a little chocolate box that you open and whatever's inside is in there? Depending on that, how you're gonna, is it gonna open like a book sideways? Then your title needs to go in that direction. Is it gonna open like a box of chocolates? Then the title needs to be in that direction. So you need to create the shape, write out everything that you want where you want it, and then you get to say, okay, this is what I want, and then you share it and you show it to your printer. And then you send them a sample of the print and they send it back to you and you test it out again. And so then you go, okay, ready to go. Now run whatever, 20,000 or 100,000, however many you're about to sell. But yeah, it's a whole back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. So that's your design back, your design front, side of the box, side of the box, flat, 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 flat. And then you end up with this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Anyway,
And you have to make sure that your product, what you're going to stick in it, is going to fit.
yeah, exactly. That's why you first get, you can contract a printer and you say, okay, I'm going to print, 100,000 of this product. And you need to make sure that your product is going to fit, that they can make them, that you're going to get them in time, that they're easy to assemble. Are you going to receive them like that, all flat, and you need to assemble them and put the product inside? Or are they going to take care of the whole thing and you'll receive boxes and boxes of your product inside of the box, so it's different, there's a whole litany of things you need to think of. But, if you're a small time product, maybe you're selling things for Christmas, you'll probably buy a bunch of flat boxes like this, and then they'll arrive at your house and you're going to painstakingly fold them up and put your product inside and, and sell them like that. You know what I mean? Versus if you
Yeah.
have tens of thousands of something, you can't imagine anyone doing that. Just the machine, the kind of company that does that will give you the box with your product inside delivered at your doorstep or whatever, right? But the design process takes its time and it all happens ahead of time, right? You create a mock-up. Here's examples. You create a mock-up. They send it back to you. You send it back. It comes back. But none of these, it's so funny, none of these that I'm seeing here in Pinterest, none of these are truly using. Here's the first one that's actually using the tabs. And in reality, this is wrong because this would mean that you're going to have a flat top with nothing on it. And people don't do that. If you have a top, you're going to put a name on it. You're going to put a logo on it. You're going to do something to it. So here's a good example where it
There you
says
go.
Timothy on the top, and then the bottom has, I don't know, like the logo, all the stuff that you need to sell it. But they're not using these flaps in the other ones, and this one they are. This makes sense because this is more realistic of what you're gonna do. You're gonna use see how, okay, jelly tails is normal, and then the top jelly tails is upside down over there under the
Yes.
click. That's what it would really look like. This would be a tissue. This is like a tissue paper box, for example. 4 sides, top and bottom. This is exactly what a tissue paper box looks like. Open a tissue paper box and you'll see that this is the exact template for a tissue paper box. It's a square, the square tissue paper boxes. It's square, 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one has a different design. And then the top and then the bottom that has the barcode. These other flaps will all pop inside in order to get it to hold together. But the other side of the flip side of this is just cardboard, no color. Okay,
Thank you.
here's another
I
example.
never realized how much work went into.
Oh yeah, so here's templates for all these different more complicated kind of boxes like these. Just think about how much it takes to, yeah, I find it fascinating to unfold boxes always and see the most amazing designs. But so this machine, if they're gonna build, if you're about to sell, 1,000,000 of these, then they did literally build a cutter template that cuts like that. And once they print it and they have the colors on the big flat piece of cardboard, then you put it through a machine and it goes chunk, kind of like it stamps it out like a cookie cutter. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
cookie cutters it out. Others use lasers and they just kind of go zin, 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 zin. But that you can only do if you have a few pieces. But if you have a whole bunch, you just need to go chunk, 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 cookie cutter, the shapes, and then another machine folds, and another one puts the product in and boom, off it goes. But the printing happens first on the flat cardboard, not on this shape. This is at the end. When the printing has happened, then it gets cut up and then it gets folded and then the product gets put inside. Okay. So
Okay.
it's interesting what we can do when there's one of us, because I have never gotten this deep into all that explanation. So cool. All right. So I kind of made this little book jacket mock-up, which is the most boring of all of these samples because it literally is one rectangle that just gets folded. This is the jacket, because by the way, the book title wouldn't even be there. The book title would be there with the author's name. This is the back of the book. Let me see. No. This is the, you're right. This is the front that pulls inwards. That's the side, and this is the back, and then that pulls inwards. So you're going to be seeing this when you pick it up. This you won't see unless you open it. This if you turn it around, and this you won't see unless you open it. You know how you open up to see who are the authors or whatever. That's what would be printing in here. And in here, in the inside of the front flap, usually it's a little summary of what the book's about. And then the inside of the back flap, it's picture of the author and a little resume, or not resume, a little bio of the author. You know what I mean? How book jackets
Yeah.
work? Okay. But it's the most boring of all templates is one big rectangle. There's nothing fun to it versus the other ones that I've been showing you, which are all squiggly and whatever, but there's still die lines, right? But you have to create those die lines in a design as a template. Here's even more. Anyway, look at all these different folding boxes that get to be really complicated. And here you have what the die lines are like for each one of these little creatures. Okay. Little creatures, little things, you know. Anyway. All right. Let me head back to InDesign. And we're back at this document, which was the one that we created with 8 pages, right?
Correct.
Now, if I look at this little pages, did you find the pages tab?
Yes.
You see the page 1 and page 8 and 8.5 and all that. So now if I go ahead and go and do command minus, or you're a PC, so control minus, here's basically my pages, right? My front page I can design, my spreads on the inside, and then my back page. Okay.
Okay.
So the front page, the back page never need to match. They never need to be a spread, because you're never going to see them together, right? You're never going to see this inside front page together with the inside back page. But all the rest you will be seeing next to each other. So these do need to flow, because they will be spreads. That will be whatever's on this side. It needs to make sense whatever's on this side. And sometimes the image flows over. You know, that's a typical magazine thing. Come on. I'm flipping through this magazine to get you the example I'm talking about, and these are all single page. Not boring design. Nothing very creative on this design, so not a single one of this page flows over. Okay, I give up on that one. How about this one? Is it better designed? This one has a bit more creativity to it. Well, in this case, it's one picture that is spread out through both left and right of the spread. So then you need to be careful that not too much of the photo gets eaten up. So if you have a face here, you might have an eye and a nose, and then the other guy gets eaten by the gutter. So you need to be careful with the gutter. This is called the gutter, right?
The gutter. Okay.
But it's a magazine. I can spread it open. Who cares? But imagine if this was a really nice coffee table book that I just purchased. I'm not about to split the spine open So then many times they end up like you read them and they end up like this in the middle. So then you better not have an important part of your photo or your text in there because it's gonna look like this. It's gonna look really uneven. If you can't do that, see what I mean? The title is gonna look like it's sticking into the inside. And that tends to happen if you have really high expensive copies of books, whatever, that don't open flat. See, this one isn't opening flat. When I
Right.
lay it down flat. I'm trying to lay it down flat. See how much of this gets eaten up? So you take that into account for your design, that the text still needs to be readable. So the text can't design it as if this was one page and the text can reach the end. Because a lot of this is going to be eaten up by that curve of the page. Anyway,
So in that example you just showed, it had a margin, and you could see the margin on the top and the side. Should you calculate that the margin on the right side of that picture is what's going to be in the gutter?
um,
Not that one, the other one. You
Yeah,
just had another picture.
but actually, this is a good example of, this is a page where you're showing a horse, two horses drawing a carriage in the carriage, and you see how you basically lost a piece of the carriage? How suddenly
Yes, the wheel.
kind of like here, you're missing all this portion of the photo. So if I had been the designer
Yes.
of this, I might have tried to be a bit more careful that more of these guys were further away from the gutter so that you didn't have to imagine that one of them was being cut off. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
If I had a chance to spread the wind much more, there's that whole image. That was the image. But that was not enough space here. If you don't flatten the whole, like, crack the spine, then you really don't see that carriage. This is what you see when you look at the magazine. You have to make, like, I'm really flattening it to see that whole image. So then you have to figure out on the placement whether that space will be. Now, in this case, if you're looking at this one, then who cares? You know, kind of you ate up a little bit of the patio more or less, and it's not a big deal. You still see the house. Does that make sense? There's nothing seriously important here, that it can just be folded better or not. So when you're doing full spreads, you need to consider what are you missing out in the middle. Okay, so yes, you're gonna design the amount of space that you leave for the gutter to make sure that you're not missing out on really important stuff, right? So see how all the faces aren't on the gutter. There, if you lose even all that, you still see that portrait just fine. Might cut more or not of more off or not of that face, but you're fine. And you might cut more or not off of this white space, but you're still fine. You're not losing out on that picture. Okay, so
Excuse me. So when you're first creating your document in InDesign, and you have the trim and the bleed, is there also an option for gutter?
yeah. Mhm.
Because there is. Okay.
Yeah, so let me go to file, new doc. Oh, here, let me share my screen. And if you forgot to put it in, you can add it later, but yeah. So if I say file, new document, I go to print. I go to inches, with pages, columns, and gutter. There's the gutter.
Okay.
Margins, there's a
Column
bleed.
gutter.
Now,
So
column
if
is different.
how
They're two different.
but how would it know, right? You're creating a magazine like you showed. How would it know that that particular page is going to have a left side gutter or a right side gutter?
No, that gutter would be in the middle. On the outer edges, it would be a margin, but the middle, which is called the gutter, is always in the middle. So when you design it, hold on. So if this is my spread, right? So
Yes.
my spread now. If I've created correct margins, so no text goes beyond this, these two lines, then this is that spine, you know, and that's your gutter. So you really have all of the space to be a gutter, and your text shouldn't go further than that. Now, if you're creating a little tiny brochure, you shouldn't worry. If you're creating a 1,000-page book or whatever, 50, 100-page, you know, photo book or something like that, with really nice stiff glossy paper, you better make sure that this guy is over here and this guy's over here. So you have a lot of empty space in the middle for it to not fold well, for example. Or most importantly, if you spread a photo across the whole thing, make sure there's nothing interesting in the middle of that photo that you're about to gobble up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So let's say that I bring in a photo right now. Do you remember how to bring in a photo? What we do to,
We're going to say place.
okay, so file place, okay. Say that I'm placing this red barn. Then if I go, say, from end to end, which is kind of what we were talking about the other day. If I go ahead and drop it where it should be, I go to the end, then looking at this line, which is going to be my gutter, I think this is not a good photo for that. Why do you think I'm saying that?
Because it's going to be cut off.
Yeah, so if that's the left or right inside gutter, if this is the whole area, it's possibly going to be hiding, and let me fill it. There you go, I filled this with white. So if you want to have your child, hold on. So if you consider that this that I just painted white might be this thing that folds into itself, if this barn, if it matters that we know that the name of that ranch is Glenorchy, that's really bad because you know it's going to fall into that gutter and it's going to be eaten up. You know what I mean? So then I need to decide to put this photo in a way that the name of that barn is not going to fall anywhere near the gutter. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If I
The
put it
barn.
here,
Because yeah, because it'll be right in the center, or not
Yeah.
the center, but
so this says Glenorchy. If I print this as a double page photo, there's important stuff of this image is in the middle. So it's not going to work. Versus, here I had a little double spread bit earlier. Here. Versus this double spread. What's in the middle is just more jungle. See that? And the boat
yeah.
over here. If the boat had been in the middle, that's important stuff to the photo, then it wouldn't have worked as a spread photo. Because that guy would be there. But since it was photographed where it's kind of off to one side, then you can put that photo like that, covering left and right spread, and it doesn't matter. Because what gets eaten up is just some more trees. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, cool. So now let's go ahead and head back to InDesign. Okay, I just had to bring it up. Okay, so then this photo is not a good candidate for a full spread. So whether a photo works or doesn't work in a certain part of the image is completely up to the image, the placement of it, the space it's in. This might be a gorgeous red barn, but that's the bad choice for putting it in the page where I need to fill my screens. Instead, I might put it in a place where I get to have part of the photo lead off into the next page. Then here I have text about Glenorchy Red Barn, famous for whatever happens in there. And this box won't be here. It's just for me to give myself an idea that to make sure that whatever happens in that spine and all that space isn't important enough to the picture. Got it?
Yes. You're actually aligning it so that it's visually
Yeah.
pleasing.
Yeah. Because otherwise, if this photo gets, eaten up by that fold, you're still seeing the whole thing. It's fine. I mean, if the goal was to look at this little wagon here or whatever it is, then that's no good. Then you do that, but then that's because you don't really care about whether it's Glenorchy or I don't know, maple syrup, whatever the thing is going to say. But you don't want to be hiding those words and not be able to see them. Okay, like that carriage photo where you basically miss half of the carriage and you just see some people sitting in the back, but you don't see the shape of the carriage at all because it was all defined inside of that gutter. Okay,
Yeah, it all makes sense now.
what's that? It all makes
It all
sense.
makes sense.
So now let's put it to practice. And actually, I'm looking at the time and we're midway. So why don't we come back and start working on this template? Let's just do a break and
Sure.
come back when we start working on the template. There's my chat. Oh, I had turned it off because I was showing you something. All right, so I have no idea what time it is for you. What time is it? 10?
It's 10:42 a.m. And just to let you know, when you were just giving this lesson, again,
Yeah.
Zoom had another issue. So
Oh, what issue? Oh, it just glitched again?
it glitched again.
Oh.
So just to let you know, it is having issues. And just in case I can't get back on, you'll know why.
Well, if when we get back from break, if I don't see you there, something's happening, I'll close the class and open it again so it's a fresh start. You can try that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is so weird. Anyway, so 10:43. That's basically 11 minus a couple of minutes. That's since there's just two of us, let's just say 11. Be back at 11 a.m. Might just
Okay.
end it earlier too. Okay, there we go. See you in
Thank you.
15.
See you. Thanks. Here I am. Can you hear me? Oh,
Hi, it's Moni. I don't have a camera. Oops, I can't hear you.
yes.
Deanna, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I just posted.
Ah, there we go.
Her audio's off. There she is.
Okay, I was just talking away and you're like, sorry. There, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I had, I was, how do you call it? I was on the other end on the couch and then I got here and then I had forgotten my glasses. I had to go get them and that's why I went and came. But I was telling you this, but you guys couldn't hear me. So you're wondering what's going on. Anyway, here we go. So hi, Moni. Thanks for joining us. I have no idea why it's just Christina and I today, and now you joined us. Did you have any issues joining other than we were on break, or was it?
No, so yeah, things are a little bit crazy for me. My husband
Yeah.
got COVID.
Oh no.
So yeah, he went to on a work trip and came home with COVID. And so
Wow.
luckily we're able to isolate him on a different half of the household, but my computer is where he is.
Oh,
So I'm using a laptop and I haven't done the VDI in a really long time, so I can
Yeah.
see if I can figure it out, or I'll just kind of listen along today.
Yeah, walk in, just listen in.
Yeah.
So is that I saw a headline the other day, since I'm not there, I'm still in Argentina. Is COVID happening right now, or is it
Yeah.
it's happening again? Huh? Wow. I
Yeah.
saw a headline
And I
about
don't think that people are being careful because, like, brother was at a, um, my brother's a film guy, but he for fun has a band, and he was
Mhm.
at rehearsal, and one of the guys was sick,
Oh,
and
and he
obviously
was there.
didn't check and he had COVID, and so they were all exposed, and thankfully my brother didn't get sick. But
Wow.
my husband's he works for a company that's all over the world, and so they have their meetings quarterly in different places. So they chose Las Vegas of all places.
Oh, Las Vegas.
Yeah. So, he's in
All
a
over the
big
world.
area and airplane, and so yeah.
Well, I'm actually flying home in a couple of days, so I'm hoping I'm gonna,
Oh yeah.
thanks for that. I'm gonna be more careful and carry some masks. I mean, basically I'm worried that someone next to me is coughing all day, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's not like you can protect yourself from the world, but in case someone right next to me, which I'm gonna fly for, hours on end with people, happens to be sick, I'm gonna pop in a little mask or something. I don't know how much it'll help, but we do what you can, right?
Yeah, the other thing I do on the planes is I take disinfectant and I disinfect the seat, the armrests, and the table part, all the parts I would touch,
Mhm.
just because they do such a fast job.
They
And
don't
sometimes,
disinfect, I know. Now that they're
and so,
asking, how they come by and asking you to put in your trash in the bags. So there's actually, by the time you're gone, then they come and just pick up the trash, but they're not They're not
Yeah.
wiping down any of this. You're right. I never thought of that. And if someone had
Yeah.
been cooking there, they could do such a fast turnaround on the airplanes. Well, anyway, yeah, I never do that. So I guess I should keep that in mind because the last thing I need when I get home is to be sick. I have so much happening by the time I get back. Plus, it'll be the last week of classes, and I have to do like tons of work and closing up the classes and beginning the new classes and, so, and stuff happening at home. So yeah, I can't afford to be sick. Anyway,
I was going to say Delta Airlines last time I flew said they were no longer going to give those little clean packets out. So she's correct. Bring your own.
yeah, I oh, and my goodness, now Barbara's showing up. Now we're gonna be a crowd.
Well, Christina got a one-on-one the first half.
Did, and I kind
did.
of followed her questions really, because I began to do something and then we just kind of segued with what I brought up. We started going down that rabbit hole, which was great. I think that there was a lot there. Hi, Barbara. Oh, now
Good
you're
morning.
there. You go.
I just woke up.
Yeah, well, that's good to know. I have been. Today I was telling Christina, I went to bed at 3 a.m. and I woke up and I had a blood test at 6 a.m. So I slept like 2.5 hours and I was like at first yawning and I was apologizing. For me, it's sometime in the afternoon. I don't know, it's 3 or 4 p.m., but I'm just yawning away. So it's not you guys, it's me. Okay. I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah, I'm on the last couple of days and I'm trying to put a bunch of things in all of my and my little bit of time that I have before I go. So so Christina was the only one here during the first part of the class. So we set
Oh,
up
one-on-one.
I know. So we set up an 8-page document and we began to talk about how that works with, front cover and all that. And next thing you know, we went down the rabbit hole of templates and shapes and prints and, when you open up a box, how the die cut is all that. Here's
I'll have to be sure and watch that video.
box. Well, it's mainly talking. We haven't used actually the apps too much. It's just been explaining. I think some of you, my guys, might have done this before. Moni probably for sure. You've been in my class before, but Christina hadn't experienced the thought that, a box when it's closed, it looks like this. And this is just like a 2-second review of what we did in case you're interested to go back. And then when you open it up, you'll discover that the thing that needs to be printed for the flap has to be upside down and the one that's in here has to be forwards and like things
Right.
you need to always create a mock-up. You basically print the die line. What's the die line? It's that line that marks where the cuts and folds are going to be. And I'm going to share just so you get what the whole word die line means. And here we were working on different I think I had some better ones than this. This was the last one that I looked at, but this would be the die line, and this is kind of a cutesy one for a little box that does that, right? So that's
Oh,
the
cute.
die line, right? And what's going to happen is you're going to print everything on one side. Like there's just, and these are like cutesy kind of origami type boxes. I guess we went really down the rabbit hole on this one, literally rabbit, haha. But yeah, these are really intricate and complicated and weird die lines, but we were looking at regular boxes before. But basically this is all one-sided document. It's one page. You just make it be from one end to the other one page. And then these are just lines that you mark with guides. And then you need to cut it out with a pair of scissors, fold it on the right place, and then decide if the BMO here has to be looking one way or the other or up or down so that when this whole thing is standing, it all makes
Right.
sense, right? So anyway, we were just experiencing that kind of conversation, which for Christina was a new conversation. And then this is just like a regular box type of die. And basically it looks like this thing that I have in my hands right now. And the homework for this class is always to take apart a bunch of products that you see around you, you know, boxes that you're about to recycle or something. And here's the example, last example we're looking at, where could be like a tissue box. There's 4 squares. These are the 4 sides of the box. Then you have the top of the box and the bottom of the box. But if you might notice, Jelly Tails is down, and then here Jelly Tails is upside down, and that's the way it has to be for the whole thing to fold correctly. Anyway, you can't design this without creating an actual cutout mock-up and then writing on each side of your mock-up this, you know, like the title or what you're going to have, so that when you spread it open again, that's when you discover it's upside down, sideways, downside up, or whatever it is that we're doing, right? So anyway, that's like the 20-second explanation of what we went through at the beginning. And in InDesign, I brought up a couple of other things, but here's my InDesign. Let me share my InDesign. So everyone, we're in InDesign if you want to join. So I created an 8-page, we created an 8-page, sorry, document with facing pages. So when you go and say File, New Document, you're going to go to Print and Inches. And then over here, you need to have facing pages checked on. What does facing pages mean? It's when it shows you that spread layout, right? When you open something, that's the difference. If this was unchecked, if I say 8 pages, right? And if this was unchecked, then I would have 8 sheets of 8.5 11 paper. But when I have facing pages turned on, then we get, and I'm going to do this template, right? Where you have front cover, spread, 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 and back cover, right? And to see that, we go to the Pages tab, and here we see the little tiny. So normally we'll be like up in this page or something. We'll be like, you know, seeing 1 page at a time. But in order to see the, here we go, in order to see the 8 pages, and that's kind of where we were at. And I know Moni knows this portion of it. She's done this before. I'm not sure how familiar you are, Barbara, with this, since you have not been, you're not more an InDesign person so much.
I've
and
made
then-
boxes.
What's that?
I've made boxes.
Made boxes, okay. And then the next thing that we started to explore, and I have like 5 magazines here, and we were exploring different print stuff. We were talking about how it matters. Whoa, okay. We were talking about how important it is to consider the gutter of a document, right? Because in this case, if this is the document's gutter, if this is a spread, and this is a picture of the Glenorchy Ranch or whatever, right? Then this is a bad placement to make a double spread photo, because you basically have to consider that maybe that whole gutter area will not be visible. And here's what I mean. If you open a magazine, right, it's possible that that whole, and let me see, there's a couple of spread photos in here. This one is a well-placed spread magazine, because whatever you miss in the middle when the
Right?
the book does that isn't important to this photo. But there was another example, and I would need to find it, where, oh, what's this one? That gutter, and I've been pushing this one in and out, but you kind of miss out on half of the back, you know, the horses are pulling something, and then you see 2 people, but you're basically, it's not a good positioning of that photo, because to see that whole image, you have to really spread it out, you know, and you really see all that shape
Right.
we're missing. Does that make sense? So you have to keep an eye on when you cover, when your image goes through, basically you have to consider the design of the whole. Let me share again. The final design, you have to have an idea of what's happening to your product, because if this is a portrait of that Glenorchy Ranch, you're basically might run roughshod over the center of it. And I just kind of put this white stuff in the middle, right? To see that, but basically it's that would the name of it would land in that gutter. And so then you might have to do it in a different way. You might have to have sorry, here's the I think it was option shift. You might have to move it sideways or oops, I got myself a I got myself a I was doing it before just fine. What just happened? Double spread or a spread in half so that all of the name appears on the side, and then you put some text over there. You have to just or choose a different photo, and then this one fits inside of one side, right? And a different one has to fit in the other side and stuff like that, because that in this case is really important, the name of the document. So this is a file that's in our design folder, and that's kind of where we were working on.
That's cool.
Okay, so, sorry, someone just came in to visit my mom and I said hi to them and I went, oh, wait, and I'm speaking in English. I was like, voila. So I'm like,
Deanna, I just wanted to mention about the boxes.
Yeah.
You know, now there's those little machines like the Cricut and things like that where you can have it cut your own
Yeah.
like design. So it's kind of nice. You can design it and then you can put it through the machine to do the cutting, like if you have to do multiples or something.
Yeah, does anyone know what she's talking about? There's a machine, I wish, during all the time that I did packaging design, Christina was trying to asking more about that. You basically had to deal, I would do packaging design for a company that would print, thousands and thousands. And so you have to like create that mock-up first, but you don't just invent your own mock-up. Many times you have to deal with a printer and find out what kind of preset box die cuts they already have.
Right.
You design it for that box as long as your product fits into it. If you on top of that create your own die lines and make your own design, then that's a whole nother charge and you have to be prepared to do that. And can they cut it to the shape and size that you're specifying? Can they fold it that way? So, it all depends on budget, right? If you're Apple and you're making a special box for your product, of course, you're going to just do everything pristine in your own way. But if you are, small time, I don't know, soap maker, and you're buying boxes that are pre-made, then you're having them print your stuff onto them, then you're gonna have to fit your stuff into their box, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, so basically you have to mock up everything. If you design a box, make sure that the printer that you're going with sends you a sample of the first run. They just run a short little run, they send it to you, you fold it, you look at it. And if you're not in the same town, sometimes if you're not in the same town, you have to just, either they, FedEx it to you next day, or sometimes you fly there and you're just like on the job, you're correcting things until they get it right, and then they'll run the, 100,000 of whatever it is, right? So yeah, it all depends on the scale you're talking about, but on a small scale, like Moni's talking about, you can have a little Cricut machine, and I think there's a couple of other brands where you just put that design of that die line and you put your paper through and it goes and it cuts it out, and you end up with basically this out of, paper or whatever material your Cricut can cut. And then you fold it, you do this whole thing, and then you test to make sure it works upside down and everything works and the flaps fit in the way you want them and not outside and da. Because you might not know if the flap needs to be colored or not, depending if it falls on the right side or on the left side or wherever it falls and stuff like that. So even if this flap is going to be inside, so this is an example. This is a living example of bleed, and that is so cool. This I didn't talk about with Christina yet. I pulled this T box apart, and there's glue here, so it's not so obvious, but hold on. My mom isn't keeping this box around for any particular reason, but here's what I was trying to do. Okay, here we go. So this box, when it's closed, it closes like this. See the
Right.
corner? So this is purple and that is purple, right? But when you
Right.
open it up, this is the end of the template, right? And this piece got cut off, that's fine. But this side of the color continues onto a flat that's gonna have glue. So you can see the bleed, actually,
Right.
right? Here,
That's a just in case.
here you had the bleed, because you're gonna cut it in and you don't want it to have the extra line, so it was designed 1/8 of an inch bigger. But over here, why waste and put ink on this piece? The glue won't fit so well anyway, but the bleed kept going. And so you see that little bit that you're never gonna see, but it's that just in case bit that then fits just right. Does that make sense? Just in case the glue
Yes.
also goes off just by a teensy bit or whatever, and then it looks like that and not like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you have to design your whole thing, keeping an eye on where you're gonna have to continue with the bleed, where you're not gonna have to continue. So you just need to see it, paint it, write it, mark it up. So that then you know, oh, well, here in the glue area, I'm gonna have to make sure to have a little bit of bleed going over into that so that it folds correctly, okay? Anyway, that bleed part we hadn't actually gotten to mention with Christina, so, all right? Everyone's good with that whole conversation?
That's cool.
There's more to that. You guys just open boxes this week and check how things are made, right? And see when things ended up upside down, when they ended up right side up. And look at the bleeds and look at all of that. Like tear apart the glued areas, right? And look and see what's happening behind the glued areas, you know, cereal boxes or perfume boxes, packaging, basically of all type and kind. It's really fun. I love looking at packaging. I designed packaging for quite a while. I find it fun. Okay, I know other people might not, but I find it
That
fun.
would have been a fun job.
And then here we segued into a book jacket and how the book jacket would be. Book jackets are really boring and that they're just a big long rectangle, but you basically have the cover, the spine, the back cover, and then the jacket, and the jacket, so it's one long rectangle. And if you pull out the book jacket ever from a book, you'll see it's this one long piece, but it's always a one-sided print, right? Because what you have on the other side of the box is the cardboard. What you have on the other side of the book jacket is just, you know, white paper. So it's always a one-page document. Now, that whole conversation came out of the 8-page document. So now we're going to continue with the 8-page document. So if you have a chance to say file new and create your 8-page document, at this point, Christina, did you have that one set up? You have your 8-page document?
Yes.
Okay, Moni isn't following because she's on a different computer. She's dealing with a sick house. And Barbara, did you ever download InDesign last week? Do you have it set up?
I went to Adobe. Oh my God, I've got to get hold of Adobe again.
Okay, so you're
I-
still not working on InDesign. That's
I
just
do
wanna know
have
whether
InDesign.
Okay, but it's not working?
Well,
That's okay. I just want to know how much to have you're watching and asking questions or you're actually doing and I need to follow through. It's okay.
I
what-
haven't used the InDesign yet.
Okay, that's fine. Well, next week is our last class. So what you can do is sign up for the next one. And then between this one and the next one, which I believe starts in October, you can have a chance to get yourself all straightened out with that. Okay?
Thank you.
Don't bother spending right now and be the first time you open it, because then I'd have to show you a bunch of stuff. Just kind of want to move forward. But if you have it and you try to open it and you can, then let me know and then I'll help you set up this document. Just you just tell me. I'm gonna assume you're not following, but if you are following, just let me know, okay? And then I'll support you. Okay. So here we are with our 8-page document, and I was explaining how this is the interior. If it's a book, if this were a book with a cover, the cover would be printed on a separate file. And then this would be the interior of the book. But if this is like a magazine, like a brochure, like one of the ones that Moni puts together for concerts, right? Then it's just going to be one document. And she puts together, what are they called? Programs? It's not a brochure, it's a program, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's
Me?
correct.
How many pages are the programs for the concert?
Usually between 20 and 24.
Okay, so that's a lot of
Quite a
pages.
few.
And yet, you've been to concerts and things like that. The program, the cover isn't a different paper. It doesn't hold differently. It's all part of the same document. Does that make sense? Versus if this is a book, then the cover literally is another document that then gets stapled to, this is the inner portion of the book, like the binding goes, or the edge goes into the binding and stuff like that. So then this is your either in a program like a concert program, then this would be the front cover. This would be the back cover. So front cover, right? F. Then this here is the back cover. And then this, when you open it up, this would be the inside front cover. Right? So when this flips open, that's the inside of the front cover. So this is usually the title, right? Oh God, this is so hard to write. Title page. Does that make sense? Oh God, I can't write. Oh, I hate trying to use a touchpad. Title page, whatever. Does that follow, Christina?
Yes.
And then in the back, this would be the inside back page. Okay. So, once again, I'm going to stop that. And here's an example where this, there's more pages than this, maybe is 24 pages. I don't know, but this is the cover. That's page 1. And that is the final page, right? Page 8. And then when you open the cover up, this side of the spread is the inside cover. And then this is that beginning title page, right? And then at the end, when you're done, and then you have all the inside spreads, and then the last page, the inside of it is the inside back cover. And this is your last page of what would be, so to say, this little kind of booklet that's in there, right? So now this is a magazine, and this is printed in a different paper. So in this case, this would be a separate document. And this would be the 8 pages where this would be the page 1, and this would be page 8. Does that make sense? And then this would be all those spreads, page 2, 4, 3, 5s, 5, 6, whatever there, and then the last one, no, 6, 7, and the last one would be the 8. Okay. All right. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we went through during the first part of the class. So in case you're wondering if you need to review it, probably Moni doesn't. Barbara, since this is all kind of new to you, it's up to how much time you have. But at this point, as we said, we're probably not going to work on that until the next time we do InDesign. Okay. So there you go. That's what this is. And I was just gonna have us put an image on a couple of these different pages. And so now, without any more ado, let's do a file place, which is also Control or Command D. And then I just brought any of the images that we have, and I used the barn. I'm going to say open, and then I just wanted to place something on page 1. So I clicked and dragged and put that barn in there. Then I'm going to say Command D, and I'm going to grab whatever this boy cleanup face, and I'm going to put him like on this page, which if we look over here, it's page 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then I'm going to do Command D, and I'm going to place another one of these images, and we're going to put it here on oh, I had it selected. So you need to have it not selected. There we go. So basically I have a different things on a couple of different pages. And why I'm doing that, because now I want us to see how we move around this document that has multiple images. So can you, were you able to do this? Christina, have you been able to put some,
I'm putting in the barn, but it doesn't come in the same size as yours.
well, okay, so this is a Command D. I grabbed the barn, which is down there. And then you choose what size it comes in by clicking and dragging. If I just click and let it go, it'll come in humongous. This is one little bit of the
Right.
glass. So I'm going to undo and I'm going to just click and drag, and that click and drag, that's the box it's going to fit into. So Command Z, and then I'm going to make it really tiny. Command Z, and I'm going to make it fill 2 pages. So you kind of choose what size it drops in at, okay? So Command Z, wherever you dropped it, and then, so this is going to be like a double spread. And then I'm going to take the barn off the front page, and I'm going to put another image in the front page so that we have different images per page so we can really see what page we're on. Okay, so now I'm just throwing a few images around here. Do you need help doing this? Christina, do you want to share your screen or something, or do you need a hand? As long as you have
Okay, so I have the
or 3.
I have the barn, but of course it has that issue with the wording in the
Yeah.
center.
So right now, this is an example. I don't care what you put on each page. The example of why I'm putting something on each page is just to teach you how to navigate amongst this document. That's all. So I don't care what,
Okay.
where it goes, if it fits in there or not. I'm just kind of throwing out something on each page so that now, if I'm working on, this is the cover. If I'm working on the cover, I'm on page 1. If I want to suddenly jump to page 8, and normally we're in the properties panel, I would have to go to the pages panel. Then I can just double click over here on page 8 and I jump straight to page 8. When I do this example with empty pages, no one really can tell whether we've really moved or not somewhere. But with something in each page, it's easier. Now I'm going to go to page 4. I'm going to double click. See how I'm in page 4? If I double click on page 5, I'm on the other side of the spread, which is empty. If I double click on page 4, then I'm on page 4. So I'm just having us do that so we can see how to navigate back and forth on this document. So I don't really care what photo you put where. I was just throwing of all the photos that I offered somewhere. Because if we have just an 8-page document, we can just go up and down like this to go to the next page. But if you have a 25-page document or a 75-page document, can't like be scrolling every time you want to go somewhere. You're going to go ahead and use this to navigate from top to bottom. And I'm going to show you a couple of others. So Christina, tell me if this is working or if you need a hand, since you're the only one really doing this. The others are listening in.
I need a hand. So
Share.
I'm going to go to share.
Screen.
I'm gonna go
Barb, can you
to
go into the chat and write something in the chat? A little hello, Barbara. Okay.
So do you see, here is the barn, but when
Yeah.
I place this, I had to make it smaller.
Yeah. That was the conversation we began to have the last few weeks where we were moving things inside the frame or outside the frame. Right now, for the lesson I'm trying to teach right now, that's plenty good. That photo is on
Okay.
the cover page. Now go and Command D, or in your case, Control D, and then just put something in page 4 or 5. It just doesn't matter.
Now here is where I moved the files for the class, but how do I get them if I wanted to go, because I can't see that gentleman's face, if I wanted to go into Bridge.
You're not using Bridge. So instead of doing this, you could just be doing this from Bridge.
Do it from
But
Bridge.
if you're
Okay,
doing
start from
it-
Bridge.
No, but if you're doing file place, then yeah, you do open your file explorer. And isn't there any way, go ahead and do that again, do a Command D. You could do it from Bridge, but you could do Command, go ahead and do Command Control, sorry, you're
Control D.
Control D, and let me see if I can help you if you do it this way. then yeah, I can kind of see these images. There's another image. There's the barn. So there's the bowls. You're able to
But
see.
the gentleman with the face.
Oh, did I not? Boy, oh, because he's
So
a
that's in Bridge. So I'm trying to, oh, here it is.
he's
As
a
you,
PSD.
here it
And
is.
since he's a PSD, you don't see the preview, of a PSD and on a Windows machine. So yeah, then you have to look at the name of the file. That's just because it's a Photoshop format. Okay, let go. Mouse. Oh, click and drag. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's just I just kind of throw them in there. It's just for practicing moving around, but it is a good practice at getting your things be in the right place. Yeah. So now click away from it so that you can bring another one in. If you don't click away, if you leave it selected, then the next photo you bring in will drop and replace the face of the boy, right? So if you have something selected, the next one will drop in.
Trying to think, what else could I bring in? The
Fine,
bowl?
any of those. The bowl, this mosaic, those are the ones that I brought in, yeah. So put it on the other page. Yeah, leave it an empty page, put it on put it on page 7. Do you know which one is page 7 now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, just page 7 and not 6
Go
and
ahead
7?
and try and do that. See if you can target just page 7. So go ahead and let it go and then undo, Control Z, and then just put it in there. Okay, good. And it's not going to fit the right size, but that's okay. And then throw something into the last one. Now, something I didn't show you that I'm going to show you now, and you might be like, why didn't you show me first? But I'm going to show it to you now. When you're done. And I'm not sure, Moni, if you've seen this one, I might have shown it to you once. So if you're paying attention, I'm about to share. Okay, so there you go. It worked. Now, go ahead and like double click on like this one to go back to now. Zoom in, go Command 1, or sorry, you're on a PC. Control 0. Sorry, Control 0.
Control 0.
Now you're filling this page, right? And the place you can see what page you're in. A over here is kind of
right here.
highlighted.
Yeah.
B, it's over here, right? It says page 8. So now say that you want to go to page 1, you can go over here to the Pages tab and double click on page 1 or double click on page 4. Like you can just double click on these things and you can do that too. Okay, so it's not double clicking over there. I was showing you here how to do it on the side. But you could also open that number 8 and then just click page 4, click page 5. Yeah. So I want you to know how to do both ways.
When you say double click,
Yeah,
I'm
so
double
I was
clicking on the
sending
left
you
side of the
over,
mouse.
way over there. Follow my arrow to the right side. That's where I was saying.
Oh, that's where everybody's face is for me. Okay. Now I see it. Okay.
So now go ahead and double click on one of those pages. And it'll take you to that page. There we go. Now on that one. So that's one way to navigate. And when you have 20 pages, then you can kind of have a little bit of a visual of what's there. Otherwise, if you're doing it the other way, which you are doing over down here, right? Like we're on page 4 right now, and this thing says page 4, like bottom left. That works as well, but then you need to remember what's on page 12 versus this way, you kind of see a little bit of an image of page 12. Does that make sense?
That's far better.
I mean, it's just, if you know for sure that, on page 4, you have a certain photo, you can go this way. And can you do it so everyone can see what I mean when I say this way? Way over here now, way where you were at the beginning. Yeah,
You
you
mean
click
here?
on that.
Yeah,
And
you just
go to
choose.
page 1 or 2 or 3, but you might not know where that photo is that you're looking for, right? Versus here, you have a little bit of a visual. So that's really the main difference. So I'm more of a visual person and I won't remember, was the bowls on page 7 or on page 12? I don't know. But here I see it, double click on it, and then I do that. So double click on that one and yep, click. You need to double click. There you go. And now you're on page 7. And if you look over here, yep, you're on page 7. Okay. So that's an easy in and out to navigate. Now, I know you're going to hate what I'm about to have you do, but can you do Control Z, 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 or hit delete on all these things? Let me show you how I'm going to do it now. And then
Okay.
when
Do you want me
you
to take all the pictures away? Okay.
yeah, and I'm going to do it myself. So I'm going to go ahead and Command minus, and I think I can just do like a big selection. So I go up and down, Command plus, Command minus on these things all the time. So I'm going to just select it and hit delete, select, delete, select, delete, select, delete, and select delete. Okay. So this one I selected. So now I've got no pictures in here. Got it?
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go ahead and say Command or Control D, which is what we did before, and I'm going to select many different ones. So I'm going to select this image, then I'm going to hold my Command key. You're on a PC, hold your Control key. Then I'm going to select this image. Then I'm going to select this image. Then I'm going to select whatever, that image, and I'm going to select that image. So now I've selected, I don't know, 5 or 6. I don't remember right now. So just watch, okay? Just watch. So I'm going to say open. And I have, do you see my mouse, how there's a little parentheses after the arrow and it says a number 5?
Yes.
So now I'm going to just click and drag and I drop that one in there. Then I click and drag and I drop that one and I click and drag and I drop that one. Now I'm left with 2 and I click and drag and I drop this one and I'm left with 1 and I click and drag and I drop that one. It's like I carried all of them at once. Does that make sense?
Diane,
Yes.
how did you pick them up?
Okay, so I'm going to undo that again. And when I said Command place, and by the way, I need to do one more undo or I'm going to have 16. Here we go. One left. Okay. So Command D. I selected one. Then, you know how if you do Shift and click you keep collecting, or in this case, Command if you're on a Mac, Control if you're on a PC. So I selected that one. And then that one, see how both stayed selected? Now,
Right.
then with the command pressed, I'm going to now select that one, and then I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to select that one. So I think I've got 5 or 6 by now. I don't know. And get the bull. Okay. So now when I say open, then it's like a little carousel. I guess I got 6 this time. Okay. So I've got 6 photos in my fingertips, starting with the first one, right? I picked them in the right order. Then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But if not, I just look at it and go, oh, this guy, he needs to be on page 4. Okay, let me go to 1, 2, 3, 4, and boom, here I drop that guy. And this bull, oh, that one's supposed to be the cover. Okay, I go over to the cover and I drop him in the cover. How about this one? Oh, that's the back cover. Okay, I put it in there. See what I mean? I'm just carrying them. So once you know what you've got, you can just carry them all. And then here I have a little one over there. It ends up there. No, so there you go. I've dropped them all with one pick. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Work for you,
cool.
Christina?
Yes.
Moni, I'm not sure if I've shown you that before. And
Yes,
since-
I have done that.
okay, I think I have shown it once or twice, but there we
So
go.
when you use command on a Mac, it doesn't pick up everything in between your first click and your second click. It just picks up what you're clicking on.
Yeah, and that's the same as control on a PC. PC has always done
Thank
that
you.
control key. So I'm gonna share a Finder window. So this isn't InDesign or something. It's just a Mac thing. It's control, okay, command, and on a PC it's a control. So it's a computer thing that if I want to select this, hold down the command key, then that, and then that, and then that, then I am selecting non-concurrent things. If instead I click on one thing, hold the shift key and click on the last one, then I select everything that's in between. This is a PC or a Mac shortcut, right? Click, shift, click. gets everything, or click Command for the Mac, Control for the PC, and then I go ahead and check a couple of different things that are not touching or touching, then that's what I'm doing, okay? And that's just universal to computers, Macs or PCs. So in this case, I was using it within InDesign to pick 4 different or 5 or whatever many designs that that existed in our documentation. All right. Okay, that worked for you, Christina? You're the only one doing it. So you said yes, I think, right?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Sometimes when I click on the photos, when you're clicking multiple, sometimes it clicks multiple photos. So I click one photo and then I
in here,
click on
one
shift.
photo, or you mean when you're bringing them in? When you're doing the Command D, you mean here? When you say it clicks multiple, you mean right here if I click multiple ones, or you mean in this moment when you click more, you get, because click shift is going to get you all the stuff in between. So don't use shift, use control to get individual ones. Okay. Shift is going to select and get you everything that falls in between. Oops, I lost one of,
Sorry, Zoom went down.
yeah, that's fine. I lost one of Christina. She's been having an issue in and out with that. Okay. But since you're the one doing the work, I'm gonna wait until you're up again because the rest are watching. So tell me when you're up again so I can continue with this. Meanwhile, any questions, Moni or Barbara? By the way, let's do some screenshots because I haven't been doing any screenshots and
Would you use InDesign in putting a photo book together if you wanted to have text pages or half a page being
oh
text?
yeah, I have created so many books, photo books with, yeah. InDesign is the premier. Of course, you could also now at this stage in life just decide to do it through a company where you just upload the photos into their kind of template
Yeah.
blurb or whatever. But if you design it from scratch, definitely InDesign is the place to design a photo book. This could be a photo book of these photos. And then I have the image on one side and text on another, or I put text on top and the bottom. I mean, this could be a magazine, a brochure, a program, or a photo book. It doesn't matter. Yeah, InDesign is the layout program par excellence. It is where I would design anything that's more than one page, anything that's
Thank you.
more than flat. The flat design, the die line of the cereal box, you could have done that one in InDesign or in Illustrator or in Photoshop if you then save as a PDF, because you can design flat in all of them. This is the easiest one. It's made for layout. But if you're comfy with Illustrator and you're comfy with Photoshop and you don't know InDesign, then you can create a flat, meaning one page, or maybe you need to do 10 postcards and they're all one-page designs. You can do that in any of those. But if you want anything that has a continuation, like booklet or brochure or triple, shapes and whatever, then InDesign is the place to do this work in. All right. So Christina, you're back. Up and
I'm back. Sorry about that.
oh, that's okay.
That
So
was Zoom.
I wanted to do some text layout, placement of text. So since we have, a document that has some stuff in it, let's play around with it. If we need a bit more space, we can take some of the photos out, but let's do it on this same one. Let's go ahead and save this file, say Command or Control S, so that we can not lose what we've done. And we'll call this one 8-page, so we know that we're talking, layout and pages, and we're also going to write added text or something like that. And we're going to have, this is an example of layout, which we've already done, and we're going to start working a bit with text. Okay, so I'm going to say save to that. You can call it whatever. Those are the two things that we're going to practice from this document: layout. Now we're going to work with text, and we're going to move the images around so it's still part of layout. Okay. And I think I was doing a sample here, but I don't think I had you do that, so I can close this one out. Let me just kind of call it book jacket-ish because it's not really, but. Got an extra J in there. Book jacket-ish. So I can close it. Okay. All right. So now, if you don't have any space in the top page, because your whatever image you put in there fills it, then go ahead and grab that, move it over a little bit. So we have some empty cover. Maybe you can put it on another page like that. But then let's select the top page and let's do Command or Control 0 so that it fills our screen. Just give me a yes, or in your case, just speak up since it's just 3 of us speak and it's only one of you doing the work. Go ahead and give me a yes that you're here. Christina. Watching him.
Okay.
Tony is away, so it's just you.
Control Z. Okay, I'm there.
Okay, all right. So now, how does text work in InDesign? And I usually work on a design that we've been working on, like a business card or something that we've been building upon, but this class has been kind of fractured and it's hard to build upon something if people have or haven't done it. That's why I'm starting with a blank page, but maybe later for homework, you can pick up on like the layout we did for the business card and actually lay out real text that you would for a business card, you know what I mean? To practice, or for the postcard that we created the second day. Now we're creating this 8-page brochure. But let's head over to the type tool, which is the big old T on the left side. Once we have the type tool, just like the photos, the type needs a frame to have text inside of it. So if I click and drag, I'm going to make a frame. No text shows up. See that? I'm just clicking and dragging and I'm making a little frame with my type tool. So maybe I want it to be only that big and I keep doing Command Z. Oh, Christina crashed again. She's been crashing. The one person who's doing the work, she's been crashing. How frustrating. I'm so sorry. Oh, here she is again. No, you crashed and you didn't crash. Oh, how funny.
Sorry about that.
No, but it's funny because last time you crashed and then you had to come in again. This time you crashed, but then you showed up. It's like you're just you're flickering in and out. All right. So I just created a text frame. I'm going to undo that. You can make the text frame whatever size you think your text is going to be. Let's start with a smallish text frame, kind of, like a little bit of text right there. But I could also create a really big one, like it's going to be a holder for my text. So let's just start somewhere over there. And then what you see in there is a cursor that's blinking. You see the blinking cursor? I'm going to start writing and I'm going to start writing, and whatever I say will go into this frame. Now, notice that when I got to the end of the frame, it automatically wrapped itself. And I'm explaining that because depending on the program you're in, things will or won't automatically wrap inside to this frame. So that's called text wrap, right? Now I made a typo there that I didn't mean to make, but that reminded me I want you to make some typos on purpose so that later we can figure out how do we correct typos. So now I'm going to make a few more purposeful mistakes. I'm going to write a bit more and make some mistakes. There we go. That was a stupid, but some mistakes.
When you
Right.
make a box and type inside of it, does it automatically text wrap?
Yep.
Thank you.
It's called a text frame, and you can't write text in InDesign without a frame. You have to put it inside a frame. So that's what you always have to do. If you were to go with your type tool and just click, nothing happens. Just click, nothing happens. As opposed to Illustrator and Photoshop, where something does happen in InDesign, you have to design a frame. Now, the
That's cool.
frame could be in a template where it's already sitting there and it's waiting because that's where the text is going to go. You get your type tool, you click in there, and then you start writing, you know. So the frame can be pre-templated or you create it where you want it. But yeah, frame has to be held up by, the text has to be held up by something. All right. So Christina, do you have some text in there already? Why don't you keep yourself unmuted since it's just you and you don't seem to have sounds in the background. That way you can just say yes, no, whatever, and I'll keep going.
Here I am. Yes,
All right. So you have some text in your text frame?
I do.
Okay. So now, I'm done writing for now. I'm going to go to my selection tool, my move or selection tool. And if I want to make this bigger, if I move this frame around, text doesn't get any bigger. All that happens is that my text box changes size. And if I go out bigger, it keeps rewrapping the text to whatever size I'm going. If it goes smaller, it also keeps rewrapping the text. Does that make sense? Is that working for
Yeah.
you?
Yes.
Yeah. So if I really did want to make the text any bigger, what am I going to do? And I do want to mention something. I want to do this. I want to bring in that photo that I left over here. The same thing happens with the picture that we brought in here. This is a frame that holds a painting. And if I start working just like I did here, I start working with this text, the text kind of changes shape, but other than that, it doesn't change size. It's possible that I might make this too small to fit my text. Then I just don't see the text that's missing, right? It's just not there. I have to make it big enough for my text to fit. Same thing with this photo. If I were to now grab this frame and begin to cut it, the photo doesn't get any smaller. All I'm doing is I'm just kind of cutting it out, right? I'm missing out on material. Now, there is a difference in that the text does do something. It refills the frame versus the photo. It just sits there. The frame just holds the content. And if I don't want to see part of it, I can just crop in to that photo. Remember that? This is like from day one or something like that. One of the first few days I taught you a little bit about this, but since we haven't repeated it too much, just wanted to show you that part. The frame in InDesign holds the stuff being text, images, which could be, you know, photos or logos, boxes that will hold color. So everything needs to be held in either a text frame or an image frame. Okay, so now I want to make this font bigger. So I'm going to select the box that holds my text and I head over to the properties panel. And in the properties panel, somewhere in the bottom, I have my character, but I forgot to show you, by the way, that all this time I've had my little contextual bar, right? This guy, which for some reason is unpinned context bar. Why is it not moving to the left? I'm trying to move it left, but it's not moving left. I have it pinned. Give me a sec. Let me take off that contextual bar and open it up again and see if it pops up. It's like it's frozen there. Normally in the rest of the places I can move it around, but that's as far as it goes, which doesn't help because it's kind of hiding amongst there. Does yours move around everywhere? It should move around everywhere. I don't know. I have it pinned, but I've tried to unpin it and it doesn't seem to unpin. Okay, that might just be a glitch. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is watch my contextual. This is the contextual bar. I'm going to click away from my text. I'm not holding text. And now it says add a frame, start with an image, type, you know, page, just margins and columns. Once I select the photo, now it's telling me text to image, relink. When I click away and I click on text, now it's giving me Minion Pro regular 12 points. Like it's always giving you, that's why it's called the contextual bar. it's giving you whatever it is that you need based on your selection. So I just selected text, it's giving me text options. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the 12 points and I'm gonna make this be, I don't know, 48-point text, right? Or 6-point text, which is barely visible, right? So I'm changing the size of the text. So I'm gonna head over to like 24-point text or something. But now I can't see all my text. So go ahead and choose a font size there, or you can also go over here on your properties panel under character. You have a lot more choices, but you still have like the font size. So I could go ahead and make it be 12 points again, okay? So I'm gonna leave it at 30. Before I continue, have you been able to change the text size by holding the box, the frame that holds the text, Christina?
I've done exactly what you've done so far.
Okay, good. Now, the problem is I had a small box. I told you to make a small text frame, and I put a lot of text, which fit just fine when it was small, but now I made my text much bigger. So I'm only seeing a little bit of it, and it wraps like I'm going to start writing, and whatever I say will, and then the rest is gone. Okay. Is yours like that? Did you eat into
Yes.
text? Okay. So now this text box, this text frame has a little red, tiny little red box right there, which wasn't there before. In fact, let me prove that to you. When my font was 12 points and it fit just nicely, I have no text box, no little red box here. I just have a white box that's sitting there waiting for me. Once I make it be anything bigger than what fits, I'm just going to go to 14 points. It still fits. Nothing's wrong. As soon as I go to a font size that it won't fit, let me see if 18 fits. Yep, 18 already is not fitting. Boom. As soon as something isn't fitting, I get that little red box. Now, we're kind of lucky in that this word is marking that something's missing, but sometimes you're not that way, and it's in the middle of the text, and unless you're really paying attention, you might not notice that the font kind of isn't fitting. Like over here, I'm going to start writing, and whatever I say will go into. If I'm not paying attention to that, I don't see that text is missing. Sometimes when you're laying out books, you stop reading, everything goes into it. So that little red box is warning me that I have more text. Okay. I'm going to back out for a little bit. If that's warning me I have more text, that's called overset text. I have too much text for the size of my frame. But if for any reason that's the size it has to be, then I can put the tip of my mouse on that actual, like really, really the tip, very, very tip of your mouse on top of that red box and click one time. And I just picked up the rest of the text, just like I picked up the paintings before. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a bit of text in here. I'm going to drop and drop. And so now the rest of the information is going in there. So if it's, I'm going to start writing, whatever I say will go into this frame, I'm going to write a bit more and make some mistakes. They are linked. They are threads.
You don't have to
So-
do anything but draw another box and that, and the
No, I
rest
didn't.
of the
No, no,
text
no, no,
goes
no.
in it?
What I did is I picked up the text. I didn't just draw any old box. I first picked up the text by putting the tip of my mouse
On the red
this.
dot.
Just give me a second, guys. There's a I am picking up from that little red box.
Right.
That means that I have more. It just basically is saying, you got more text in here. It's overset
Right.
text. You got more text in here. I point to it and I click one time and see what happens to my mouse. It's like I'm carrying text. So with this in hand, I'm going to go and I'm going to click and drag, and maybe let's do it on here. I'm going to click and drag and make another box. This is the rest of the text. Now I might be carrying 24 pages or just 2 more lines, but this is following that. So how do I see that this is following that? Well, there's something I like to turn on under view and then say show let me see, extras, show text threads. So Christina, go to view, extras, show text threads. Once you-
Okay, so I did pick it up when I clicked on that red and I went over the picture. It actually went under the picture. So it didn't go on top.
Right, so that, go ahead and go to some blank stuff and we're gonna talk about layers later. But just go ahead and say undo and pick it up again and then just drop it on some blank spot. And we're
Okay.
at layers, but right now I just want to make sure that we
So
get,
now the whole thing, you have two words, texts. I only have one.
did you, here, go ahead and show me
It
your,
literally. Okay, so
no idea what time it is. Oof. We have 20 minutes left, 19 minutes left, okay. Okay, so you brought the whole box down. Go ahead and pull this box up again. Just grab it and drag it up. No, not like that. Okay. Now, that's just moving the box, what you just did, but you didn't have the text on the tip of your mouse. So select the box now, put the tip in there and with the tip right in there, click one time right now. Okay. Now that you clicked, move your mouse out, like unclick. No, you're clicking and dragging. Okay, I see what's happening. Just simply let go of your mouse right now. Okay, just click it one time and let go of your mouse. Just a simple pick up, click. There we go. Now
okay.
you're carrying, now you got that text and now you can click and drag and put it somewhere else. Now you just clicked, but that didn't work. Go ahead and do undo, Command Z. And now go to the bottom of the bowls and click and drag. You need to drag out again the box that it's going to fit into. Okay. Now,
Okay.
we're going to practice it a little bit more. Don't worry. We're going to practice it with a lot of text in a second. But first, I want you to go to Window. No, to View. Up at the top.
View.
View.
Oh, okay. So now I have this
I have Zoom in the way. Yes.
Zoom up
Grab
on
it from-
top.
Yeah, grab it from the black box.
Oh, let's see. Here's window.
Not window, view. I'm circling it.
Okay, view.
And go down to extras. It's almost at the fourth from the bottom. Yep. And then go inside of that to show text threads.
So view extra show text threads.
So now I'm going to stop your share, but now you can see literally your threaded text. Okay. So I'm going to do mine too. I was waiting for you to do yours. View extra show text threads. So now this is telling me that this text is going from there to there. Okay. Now let me show you how this works. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this box. I'm going to start writing whatever I say will go into this frame. See how it goes, it finishes there from there. Now I'm going to make this box a little bit bigger. And the text thread, now it says it'll go into this frame. I'm going to write a bit more. Now I'm going to make this box a little bit smaller and all that text is going to flow into that one. You see it? Maybe you need to see it a little bit further in
Oh,
there.
that's cool.
See that? Let me move this up. You can see it a little more here. So as I change the size of this box, the text flows in and out in that order. Does that make sense?
That's nice.
Yeah.
And now I do that and then it goes in there. If I make this one so big that it all fits in there, then this one's empty, right? If I make it so tiny that I only get 2 words in there, then this one fills up. But what if this one's also small? Well, another little box that says overset text, because they're both so small that my little bit of text doesn't fit. So now I pick up again, click, and then I'll make another box. And now I got more text into that one and it's still tiny. But the moment I make this one bigger, then it all flows in and out, in and out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So go ahead and play around with that, in and out, in and out. Oh, that's my alarm saying that we have 15 minutes left.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Here, let me move this over. So, now we are going to Command or Control Z down a little bit. And now let's go ahead and on page 2 or 3, whichever one you have empty. Let's go back to our type tool. And let's create a new text frame. Let's make it really big. So I'm filling this page with a really big text frame. So let me show you again what I'm doing. Going to the text. So I moved over to page 2, right? I'm leaving those be. That's, you keep playing in and out and it's kind of fun. Now I'm going to the second page here. And I have some empty space on page 3. If you have it on page 2, it doesn't matter. And if you don't have any space, go to page 4, go to some empty space somewhere or move a photo out of the way. Get another text type tool. And then we're going to click and drag and make a big frame this time. Like it's basically fills the screen. There's my little cursor. Now instead of writing, we're going to go to type, fill with placeholder text. And that whole box is going to fill itself up with text that we don't have to write. Okay, so I'm going to undo that again. So I can do it with you one more time. Choose the type tool. We're not picking up leftover text, overset text. We're starting with a new box and we're going to make a big frame. Going from margin to margin. And then my cursor there is where we started writing last time. This time we won't write. We're going to go to type, fill with placeholder text. Once I do that, I'm going to get a bunch of text in there. Once you're there, give me a yes that you're done. You got it.
Now, I just want to understand this. Where did you get the text?
I went up to type, fill with placeholder text. It's just mock dummy text, it's called. Placeholder text. Go ahead and you want to share your
Okay,
screen? Or did it work?
it worked now.
Okay.
How do you change how close the type each letter is? Like
Yeah,
you wanna
hold on. We're going to go there. Right now, I'm going to
Okay.
zoom in a little bit, and this is Latin. So it looks like type and everything, but it's not like in any particular language. So it's great. Just dummy text. It follows the rules of text as paragraphs, short and long words, but it's not distracting. And we use a lot of placeholder text when we're designing something, right? Because you just want to see how it looks, but you don't have the text of the book or the brochure or the flyer yet, but you want to start deciding where the text is going to go. You might even want to tell the writer, either yourself as a writer or the writer who's writing the brochure, oh, I need 100 words only. Don't go farther than that. Why? Because you've laid it all out and you know that for it to look good, you can't go have more than 100 words. You know what I'm trying to say? So you do placeholder text, but now let me first show you a bit the threaded stuff, and then Barbara, I'm going to show you again what you're asking, and then that'll be it for the class. So now this box at the bottom fills exactly right. So there's no leftover, no overset text. See, my little box is white. There's no overset text. So I'm going to now make it smaller. So I grabbed that frame, made it smaller, and here we go. Now I have overset text again. Okay.
Right.
Now the reason I'm doing that is because I want us to now make it pretty small, pick up from that plus sign the rest of that text. And then we're going to put the rest of that text on like page 8 or 9 or wherever, in this case, 6 or 7. I'm going to click and drag and I'm going to put the rest of the text in here. And the threads follow through. This is how you do the continued on page whatever, right?
All right.
So now I can grab this little box and make it bigger, and text flows in all the way from, maybe this is page 54 and this is page 7, right? And then it flows in and out as you're designing. Does that make sense? Does that work for you, Christina?
Well, I haven't exactly gotten there near. I just want to make sure I put the text in the full frame.
Yeah.
So did you go back to view extra show text threads? or
Nope, nope, let me, hold on. Let me show you again what I did, but meanwhile, I'm doing some screenshots because I know that we're gonna end up running out of time. Okay, so here's what I did. Let me undo, Command Z, Command Z. Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. Okay, here we go. So you said that you got a full page of text, right?
correct.
Okay, now I'm gonna make that text frame smaller.
Right,
So-
right. But how did you highlight the text frame?
Hold on. You just click on it, click away or on, and then you grab one of the handles.
Right, but I'm doing that and I can't get it.
Okay, let me stop your share. Can you share your screen and show me?
Okay.
Share your screen.
Did
Okay, so now you have to be not in your type tool, but you need to go back. There you go. That's what's missing. Go back to your move.
this one. Now, okay, so now I got it.
Now you can grab those handles at the bottom. And yeah, so once you're done with the type, your type tool, you've written it. You didn't write this one, but you've got your type. Then after that, it's all about the hand. Your hand is always going to be, always go back to the black selection tool. We do that in Illustrator also in Photoshop. We always want to go back to that tool as our home tool. Okay, now you have overset text. So now pick it up, a little click. You got to have the tip of the arrow right and then a click, click.
Because you said click once.
Yeah, you might be doing like a, yeah, you might have been doing a long press or something, just a quick click. There we go.
Okay, now we can
Right.
take it someplace else.
Take it to the end and then click and drag, and you have to remember, make the box for it. There we go. And you probably still have, more overset text, but now
Right.
basically all I'm saying is no matter if you went from page 1 to page 54, 207, or just from page 2 to page 3, the text keeps flowing into each other, right? So then you can grab it from there, a simple click, and then take it to the last page. ¿Qué tal te trabajo bien? Okay. So now
Thank you.
the text threads, now if you make this bigger, the text will flow into it and it'll flow out from the other. So now go click on this box and grab a handle. Click on it, just like now grab a handle and make it bigger again. And text flows in, so it's flowing away from the back, or make it smaller, and you can just command or control minus to see it flowing in and out at this point.
Yeah.
And minus to see the whole thing. But anyway, I was trying to show you that no matter how big or small, it's not just that it works inside of the same page like before, but it works across a whole publication, right?
Very nice.
That's how you go in a magazine and you begin to see one thing and then you go continue it on page 76, right? Well, there we go. Then you take it to the editor and the editor chunks off 3 paragraphs. It's like, don't worry, 3 paragraphs chunk off of that back page that then you fill in with some art or something, but it all flows up again. Does that make sense? Or maybe they add text, maybe you get in there and you add another paragraph and then it all you have to go to the last page and make that box bigger to have more text flow into the last page. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Let me see, 4:19, I have a couple more minutes. Okay, so go ahead and I'm gonna assume that you'll be doing your screenshots and then posting them because it'll be just you and I.
Yes.
Do you need the Padlet link or you got it? Here, let me put the Padlet link one more time. Let's do that and go ahead and open it now from here. That way that Padlet stays open for you. And then after class is over, you can post it. But let me share your screen. I'm going to do one more thing and then we're going to be done. We've had a very productive day on the one hand, but we've also, since we had more time, kind of covered different stuff and I didn't really finish everything I wanted to show you. So this is a little bit more what Barbara asked. So so here all I did was help you see how it threads. But what if I want to change, the font, the style, the shape, the line spacing in between, all of that, right? So I'm going to select this box here. And again, I can either use the contextual box, that one, for all these changes, or this one down here under character, I have many more choices. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head down to the character box and I'm going to say that I want this to be a different font. So I'm going to click here on the arrow next to the word Minion Pro, and I'm going to choose other fonts that I have from here. And this is live preview. So as I hover, I haven't chosen anything. I'm just hovering over it. These things, my text is changing. Now I'm going to change it to something very different. And then the reason I wanted something very different is to show you. Oh, see, this is the problem. It's on a second page. Where's my other text? Oh, I ended up getting rid of that. Okay, so I need to undo this example for a second because I'm going to continue the text over here. And why am I doing this? Is because I want to show you that if I change the text on threaded text, I select this box only. I'm not selecting all my text. The other text is maybe on page 27, right? If I select this box and I changed it to a different font, where's my threaded text? Where's my characters? Where did my contextual taskbar disappear to? I can't see it. Where'd it go? There it is. My contextual taskbar had disappeared. Oh, it disappeared again. Like it doesn't like to do this with threaded text.
Mine disappeared as well.
What are character styles?
No. Oh, I can't even get into that right now. Basically, you define the styles for a whole document. I'll explain it to you in 5 words, but I can't do it with you guys. So you don't want to have like a 25-page document or a 255-page document where each box you have to font, this size, this thing. You want to, instead, you want to be able to define my titles are all going to be, you know, Andale Mono, 25 points bold. My paragraphs are all going to be Helvetica, 2 points, whatever. So you define character styles and then you just choose the character style and you select the box and it's a preset for your fonts and stuff like that. So I can't show it to you, even though I can describe it. Okay, so that's interesting because they're threaded. My character disappeared. Let me go to window, type character. I'm just opening up the box, and because they're threaded, it's not letting me. That's new. Before you could do this on threaded paper. Okay, that's interesting. I have to get in there and do it to the, I have to get in there and become type. Okay, what time is it? I'm only a minute away. So this is new. You used to be able to change one box and the other box wouldn't change, but they figured out that that was wrong because now when I try to select the box to change it, since it's threaded, it's not letting me. So basically I have to select the text. Well, that's news to me. Things change, they keep fixing things, but that was always a bit of a problem now. So let me double click in there and I'm going to delete my threaded box because I want to show you this. So I'm going to delete the threaded box, the bottom part. When I delete that threaded box, by the way, Christina, I'm not deleting the text. It's just that I deleted the box. If I pick up the text from here again, it'll happily thread again. You know what I mean? It was still there. It's just the box that's holding the text, but it's not getting rid of the text. Now, if I were to get rid of this one, then of course I'd get rid of the text. Anyway, so go ahead and for a second, get rid of the threaded box or go back to the one that's on top. Just want to show really quickly.
Okay, and I did double click into the text and that
And you went
pop-up
into the
appeared
type.
again.
Yeah, it went into the type tool and it's fine. I
Yeah.
just wanted to show you this really quickly, that when you don't have threaded text, you do have all the choices, then you can change font, right, to something totally different. So say that I choose that font, then of the choices that I'm putting it here, but it's the same down there because I already put it up, then the one that you asked about, Barbara, that's this one. Look at the tiny little little icons. They kind of tell you, this is showing you an A on top of an A. That is letting the spacing between lines. So I can go over here and make it like, my font
them
is 12
point, huh?
points. I can go and make 24. See how I got like a
Yeah.
bigger spacing that's
Perfect.
letting. I can make it 48, so I leave a lot of space in between or something like that. Or I can go even really tinier and then all my text is going to overlap each other, which of course it's unreadable, but if it's
Oh,
a
dear.
big font, right? So auto is the one that the font needs, and then the rest is up to you. You can go, usually bigger than the font. If you go smaller than the font, that's when you get the overlap. Bigger than the font, you can go really big or a little bit bigger to make some space. That's letting. Okay, if you hover over it, it'll say letting. My mouse is covering it right now, but it'll say letting. Then you have other choices, like you can stretch out all the words over here. Tracking, so I can go ahead and say that I want this to be 200 stretched out and see how there's even more space between the letters. Or it's the other way around. I'm going to say, no, I want to be a tiny small, so I've condensed it. So play around with all of these. All of these are fun. They do different things. And depending on if you're doing a title, or like this would be horrible font for a book that I need to read because it's all uppercase and kind of thin but it would be perfect for a nice headline, right? For a title, it would be fine for one big title. Maybe the title is maybe this is the title or something. But for body text, this is a horrible body text, right? Because you can't really read it too well. So anyway, start playing around with these guys. I'm going to go ahead and leave this as, maybe I'll make a bit of a letting here for a screenshot. And then we will conclude the class because I need to get a bunch of stuff done and the 30 minutes that are left before I start teaching my next class. 40 minutes that are left. I start teaching.
This is a really, really powerful program
Oh God, yeah, InDesign.
with all kinds of,
Now, InDesign is the only one that could do this stuff before. Now, you can do similar things to this in Illustrator and in Photoshop, but this is the most versatile one, the one where you do the best work for layout. So the others, you did nothing before, then you did a bit in Illustrator, then you got better in Illustrator, then you did a bit in Photoshop. Now Photoshop is also better. They all are catching up, but then InDesign is the main layout program. So
can you take and design something in InDesign, text wise, and save just that text and then take it and drop it into something in Photoshop? Or will Photoshop change it? I don't know if I
So there's
question.
some things can be pasted from place to place and some things can't. By the way, I'm just sharing what I'm doing here in the sense that I'm trying to post my stuff. But let me see. This is a 8-page booklet. Drop the photos in all at once carousel by choosing file, place, and then selecting multiple images while clicking on Control/Command key.
And when you're dropping them in, they go in the same
Photo.
order that you picked them up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Drop each photo
Wow, this is
in
trippy.
the document by clicking and dragging the mouse into the size you need the photo to be. And this is from the other classes that we've done. Don't forget to check the effective PPI to make sure you didn't make the photo too big to less than 300 PPI to avoid blurry or pixelated images. All right, so that's one thing that we did. Then we also did this one. Drop in threaded text. View the threads by going to view slash extras slash view threaded text. If the text you place is bigger than the text frame you made, then the bottom right corner shows a red box that is an overset text warning. Click on that box and carry the rest of the text into a new text frame. Okay.
It's a smart program.
All right, guys, I'm really tired today. I need my break. I'll see you again at 4:30, no, 5:30 for the next class, okay?
That's
Go
an
ahead,
intense
save the
class.
stuff and post it, and I'll see you
Thank you.
Illustrator in a little bit. Bye.
Yeah,
Hey.
bye.
Bye. Thank you.